Hey, it is Tuesday, January the 24th, 2017, and this is the Giant Bombcast. So it's like some mouse warfare going on in here directly prior to the show.
What do you mean, mouse warfare?
People are drawing, battle lines being drawn across the table.
Look,
here.
man, it's Logitech or it's nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I say. It's
I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of with you. Like, I love Logitech stuff, but I think Rory has a good point. Steel Series Sensei.
The shape of the Logitech, I just can't. Especially that one classic, like really high curved dome.
I love that.
See, I like the
Fits
square
right in the
chunky
hand.
one. I like the grip, the claw grip one, the G9. That's the money.
I
one
was
for me.
always a IntelliMouse person, and then that went the Death Adder kind of took the shape.
People started making IntelliMouse clones.
Yeah, you like the 3.0. I think they put out one with like the tilt wheel that was super jelly and awful.
That one was bad.
And but no, the IntelliMouse stuff going way back. That's always been my thing. And then the SteelSeries Sensei is kind of close enough and very similar.
Is that the successor?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I believe the Death Adder is like a licensed like Microsoft thing where the actual shape is.
Oh, really?
Like they actually got.
If I recall correctly, I mean, maybe I'm fuzzy on that, but
So I used to review mice back in my Maximum PC days.
I did a few mouse showdowns too
Yeah.
for GameSpot.
And those old IntelliMouse Explorers, I like when Microsoft reissued that in like 2009, maybe 2010. I went back and bought one.
Yeah.
That is probably my all-time favorite
Stock up.
mouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You
right
just
up
have
there.
mice in reserve.
Look, I've got a box in my garage that just has mice written on it.
Yeah.
And when a mouse breaks, I just go out there and grab.
That's fair.
Like, yeah, there's.
I once bought, this was like 15 years ago, I bought, I think, like 3 or 4 of the IBM keyboard that I really liked at one time. Found a deal on them. I was just like, I'll just have a stack of keyboards just in case.
What's back when you couldn't get mechanical keyboards?
They
Except
weren't
for
even
those old IBM
They weren't
ones.
even mechanical. It was kind of a lame plastic keyboard.
PS2.
And they all went to the Salvation Army.
Yeah, when I cleaned out my garage last time, I put a lot of stuff in electronics recycling.
Yes.
But no, I mean mice. Like I've tried to write those like comparison things, and it's so personal. Like you can't actually tell anybody like this mice is the mouse for you without actually going and feeling it. So
And it's like there's 3 or 4 different ways that people hold mice, right?
Sure.
Like people do the claw with their hands like straight, their fingers straight
I'm not a
down.
big fan of the claw grip.
I like it for shooters, but if
Okay.
I'm playing like Civ or something like that, my hand will seize up after a couple of hours, and I'll be unable to continue playing.
Yeah.
so when you get really intricate into the the ones that come with like weights now, like a different gram weight or like the DPI switchers between 3 different things. I don't play FPSs enough to the point where any of that stuff is really meaningful to me. Like, but I just like a good solid.
Do you?
And the Steel Series one, I really like.
You play MMOs? You got one of those ones with like the 16.
No,
programmable.
The
the
Naga.
Naga.
Oh,
no,
man.
no.
I did buy one of those. I was playing like at a Star Wars or something like, I forget what the fuck I was playing, but that thing is a piece of.
It's not good.
No,
trash.
it's not good.
Yeah.
I
Not
gave it a
good.
bad review.
Yeah.
They were pissed at me for a while about it.
I've never liked any of those with the freaking keypad on the side. It's
No,
just
I've
way too
two
much.
side buttons, and then usually I wind up in WoW. At least I wind up binding both those buttons, then click the mouse wheel, and then scrolling up is one action, and scrolling down is another action. I take there's usually a camera, but I rebind that to have, and then everything on the keyboard is like bound to. So
Like I found out the other day, people use thumb buttons for crazy stuff. Like my thumb button is usually bound to like if it's a multiplayer game, talk. Like the close one,
Yeah.
like push to talk there. That's because that's really handy. And then the front one is usually the offhand punch or like if it's a
Grenades.
offhand grenade. Yeah.
that's pretty standard for me. I use it for auto run just because numpad's a really weird button to hit for that. And then like one combat button, and then scroll up is mounting. Scrolling down is usually some kind of self heal, and then clicking in is something where,
What are you
until-
mounting, Rory?
Just mounts. I still have my big Blizzard Bear from 2008 BlizzCon,
Okay.
which
You're
I
saying
looked up
mount
on
bears?
eBay. If you have one of those cards, still it's like $1,300.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Wow.
Me and my friend both have one from when we went that year, and we sometimes ride around and people are like, what the fuck? How
Show
do I
off
get
your
that?
bear?
Like, you can't.
Nope.
Sorry.
When I cleaned out my garage the other day, I found all my old WoW my collector's editions.
Yeah,
Some of the
I-
first 3 or 4 that I never used.
Yeah.
Same here.
They're worth money.
Oh, you mean all the codes are still
Yeah,
good?
the codes are
Ooh,
still good.
Wow, you could probably
I
move
probably
those
should
things.
put those on eBay.
But I mean,
Yeah.
they're still wrapped up, or
One of them I opened because I wanted to do the install for WoW off the DVD instead of the 12 CDs that they shipped on that first version, and then the rest of them are just unopened.
Wow.
they're worth money.
Yeah, you could probably move those. I have like 5 Blizzard collector's editions that are huge, and I was pulling them, cleaning out my closet the other day, and all the codes are used, so it's just the trinkets. And now I'm like,
You have a cloth mat,
do
man.
I really need a mouse pad for every one of these games? And like I'm making a
mouse pads are trash too.
Yeah.
You want to start
Are
talking about micing stuff. Like mouse pads have.
You could like tape them all together and have like a really nice world map.
a
Does it
gigantic
make a
mouse
one
pad.
picture? That would be amazing.
That
all
would be
those
pretty
mouse
good.
pads
That
made
kinda
one
No,
picture.
they added the map later on, like Broken Isles and everything else is kind of shoehorned in.
If you want,
The mist will be revealed, and they discover new continents every like couple years in WoW.
Yes. It's like, hey, there's another continent we forgot about.
Yeah.
have they found an
The fog of
underworld?
Way
Like,
bigger
you dig
planet than we
down?
thought.
Have they found the underworld yet? You could like dig down and there's a whole.
There's
Well, they already did
dwarf.
like under the ocean, right?
There's a zone that was under the ocean. I'm not sure if that's like the Naga homeworld, because the Naga homeworld's like in the middle of the ocean. I think they've been talking about going there for a while, but I don't think they really have yet. So.
They
You always-
the Murloc expansion yet?
Not yet.
You always-
Murlocs haven't
Still
been played too much of a role. I talk about WoW way too much on these shows, so we should probably
You do play a lot of WoW.
do play.
Real skeleton crew here on the Giant Bombcast this week. Jeff,
thanks, man.
Will Smith, thank you very much
Jesus.
for being here.
Oh, it's good to be here, Brad.
Matt
Always
Rory,
a pleasure.
Hi.
Also, thank you for being here.
I'm like the 12th man,
Yes,
way into the bench.
I guess that means I'm the 11th.
we're oh no, we love having you guys on.
9.5.
Perpetually down a man with Dan on the East Coast now, and then
Yeah.
Jeff was tragically
Stricken,
struck by flu
struck down on his prime.
of some kind
By the sickness.
yesterday.
He tweeted about having like fever dreams and,
Yeah.
and being like really out of it. So he's like,
Yes.
Man,
He's
I
a bad
want to
time.
see a Jeff Gersman.
He did not
fever
sound
dream.
like he was in any state to be in this room talking.
let alone get here, let alone drive here.
Yes.
because he has a drive.
Yes.
a fair way.
Also based on our experiences with Dan coming in here sick multiple times last fall, I think I'm happier.
The engineering
This
crew has
way.
been like devastated. It's always interesting to see.
Yeah.
like interesting. I'm a pretty hardy stock myself. but,
Yes.
Look,
uh,
I'm hardy stock. This stuff came into my house right after New Year's.
Yeah.
And we were broken for 2.5, 3 weeks. I'm just now starting to feel normal
yeah.
again.
No, I mean the older you get, the more
Hey.
shit lingers.
Hey.
No, I'm the same way. Like when I get sick, it's like used to be just chicken soup and some vitamin C and you're fine. But
Yeah.
then now it's like a week and a half. Like
Out of commission.
I hurt my shoulder somehow. I have no idea how, but it's been like 2 months where raising it above. I'm going to the doctor.
That sounds like you should go to the doctor.
That's not
No,
good.
I am Thursday.
That shit's bad.
That
Yeah.
my blood pressure.
Yes.
But no, yeah, it's been just the GameSpot people seem like they've resisted it for the most part, but the engineering crew definitely has been like people missing like weeks at a time.
Yes, stuff's going around for sure. But Jason A. Striker is healthy and here.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
And you
Mhm.
played a bunch of Resident Evil 7.
What?
I did. Yeah,
I wanna hear about it.
considerable amount.
Yeah.
So, my first experience with it was at an event. I tried it in PlayStation VR, and I thought it was pretty effective,
Yeah.
super cool. And I've actually kind of stayed away from some of the demos because I wanted to, just play it.
Yeah, what's up with the
outright.
demo? Like they kept pushing out more content to that demo, isn't that right? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, I
Like,
think,
I
think
played-
so, and
I
there were
played the
things
first
that you could
demo.
actually get by
Yeah.
doing some puzzles and
I saw
bringing
it
it into the main game.
Carry some items over or something.
Yeah.
But
But no, they're doing a remarkable job of like making this like a cinematic experience.
Yeah.
It is a first person thing, and at the outset, it does not feel a lot like Resident Evil.
okay. Really?
Yeah,
That's I feel like that's the opposite of what Dan's review tried to argue. So we got one copy in, and it went to New York, and Dan reviewed it and has played the whole thing. And
I have-
You started
yeah.
playing it yesterday.
yeah. I have not read his review.
He
so.
I don't know how deep in you are, but basically the entire argument in the review was that it feels like Resident Evil 1 in first person.
Somebody also sent an image to the Giant Bomb. Like every review had something about return to the roots. Like it was
Yeah,
used, that
yeah.
phrase was used in like almost every review on the internet.
Huh.
Which is
Interesting.
I haven't seen any
This
of
is
that game.
this is just at the outset.
Yeah.
And they do lean in on some of the not tropes, but there's puzzle doors. And
Yeah,
things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
You've got to collect some like weird, Cerberus dog heads in order to unlock this door or something like that. Which
stick the red gem in the statue's eye to
Yeah.
open the yeah.
Exactly.
Like
And
he didn't like come out and say they're straight up ink ribbons, but he did say it's like you're trapped in a house, you're like running around this house, like ammo is super scarce to the
Yep.
point that like you regret every time you miss a shot.
Yep.
Like,
and that stuff does feel like Resident Evil.
Yeah.
But I think the presentation and just like the tone and everything, I'm not getting a Resident Evil vibe.
Okay.
And that's a good thing, actually. Yeah, because it is immersive. They're doing some really great stuff with sound design in there. Like everything is super effective as far as their like audio cues. You'll get a jump scare stinger every now and again. But for the most part, it's all like ambient, like the house is settling kind of stuff.
Okay.
And it is unnerving.
Yeah.
Especially when you're playing with headphones. It's spooky as shit.
What's your? Are you a member of Stars? What's going on?
So you're actually, you plays this dude named Ethan, and his wife had disappeared a number of years ago, probably 3
Alan
years.
Wake again?
Yeah, maybe a little bit like that. And then out of the blue, he gets an email from his wife saying, "Hey, I'm at this Baker farm. Come get me."
I could have sworn there was another game or movie that had almost the exact same plot not too long ago.
That would not be surprising.
An email out of the blue from somebody who I've totally drawn a blank on it, but it sounds very much like a. Is that a Silent Hill thing? Doesn't happen in one of those games or something?
Silent Hill, you get letters, right? Isn't there a letter sent from people that have been dead for? I know, everything I know about Silent Hill, I learned from Wikipedia.
Anyway,
I haven't played Silent Hill in so long. Was it like your daughter was missing or something? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I've actually bounced from a lot of the Silent Hill and Clock Tower stuff. I love horror as a genre, but usually when you've got like this nemesis type of dude chasing you through the entire game at set intervals, I'm like, fuck, man, I don't want to do this because I can't fight the guy.
Yeah.
It sucks. I'm scared all the time. But in this game, there is like a nemesis style person that's chasing you through this,
sort of
this house.
a big bad walking around.
Yeah,
like kind of.
But you do have
scouting for you.
But it's not like game over if he finds you. You do have the ability to fight back and stuff. At the cost of a lot of ammo typically.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it's like game over. So some of that stress is reduced. But
do you think they bring that big bad out on you when like you start getting too much ammo and you maybe feeling a little too comfortable?
Does it feel like dynamic? Is the game triggering it based on stuff that's happening, or is it like part of the story when
it's really tough?
Out?
Yeah, it's really tough to tell.
Yeah.
Like it, there's certainly some scripted moments where it's like you hit this specific door, something's gonna pop out, he's gonna pop out. But then there's also times where it feels like he's just kind of walking around. There's a moment where you're actually crawling through the underside of the house, and you can hear him up above you, so you can kind of tell where he's at, and then pop up, just to go around him or whatever. So that's certainly not scripted. But he does have like a set route at times, I guess. But those moments are kind of few and far between so far.
Yeah.
But
how are controls?
Controls, you had a standard first person stuff. It's not like tank controls or anything like that.
I should hope not.
Yeah.
God, tank controls. Like that should be an option though, right?
I guess so. Yeah,
They
but
should let
only
you do
in
that to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because it is first person. I guess
They kind of are tank controls, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
What are
but
tank controls?
Oh, you don't remember tank controls?
I
Resident Evil 1?
I
Did you ever play Resident Evil 1?
I played like a bit of it.
It's like you turned on an axis, like
I
you would
remember,
turn left
yeah.
and you had to push up to walk forward no matter where you were.
For my
But
Resident
I mean,
Evil,
I can strafe in this, so
Yeah.
I mean that's the big difference. So,
Okay.
yeah.
But
I've
it's
only
not.
ever-
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's not a first person shooter, right? I mean, I know there is
certainly
shooting,
some-
but like it's not.
Yeah,
it's not like a fast action game.
Not a fast action game, no.
Okay.
And it does feel like kind of old school Resident Evil in the fact that enemies are kind of bullet sponges and stuff, and they're going to take multiple shots to the head.
Wait, are there other enemies besides this thing that's stalking you?
I
Is it like-
really don't want to.
Oh, is it? Is that?
Yeah,
is that spoiler.
I'm really dancing around
Okay.
some stuff here.
Like I'm tempted to just ask the Resident Evil 4 question of like, hey, are there zombies in this? But if you don't want to address that, then
Where there were
haven't
zombies
they
in
like
Resident Evil
strayed
4,
away
though?
from
No, there weren't.
zombies like in Resident Evil 4? It was
Yeah.
like the townspeople, they were like
plague
infected with some shit,
Yeah.
and that's the biohazard, right?
yes.
Five was the one that you did the headshots and the horrible flower monsters came out. Of
Four had that too.
Four had that
They
too.
both
Okay.
had that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if any like series of games has gone from like all-time classic Resident Evil 4, one of my favorite games of all times, and Resident Evil 5. I got like an hour in and
Really?
gave up.
I like
hated it.
5.
I like
AI
5 was okay.
AI
Through
teammates AI teammates are one of
Yeah.
them. There was a year or two when every game had to have an AI teammate, and it was
Yeah.
all co-op forced.
That's
in.
true.
I played 5 with you. I think.
I think we might have played it a little bit. I know I
Yeah.
played it a ton with me and Vinny. Played through the entire game on like professional difficulty.
Maybe it was
also.
with Ryan then.
Yeah.
I played through all of 5 on
Yeah.
co-op with somebody.
Five was
like,
great co-op.
It was terrible single player and awesome co-op.
Yeah, I don't like playing co-op, so all of those games are just like single player was the only option I cared to go in with. But Dead Space 3 was the only one of those that actually made it feel like the single player and the co-op were like actually separate. Resident Evil 5 was just have
it
a
would
gun
have
and
been-
they'd use all your ammo and it was.
No,
I never
can
finished
see
it.
that.
I never even tried 6.
So I have a real weird relationship with Resident Evil. I didn't have a PlayStation when PlayStations were a thing.
Okay.
So I missed all of those first games, and I think I
man.
picked up 4 on the Wii maybe.
Yeah.
Because you could use the Wiimote
I think the
to
Wii,
aim.
Wii might still be the best version of Resident Evil 4 with the motion aiming.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
really
Yeah,
good
it's awesome. It's a great version of that game.
It's like a light gun shooter
Yeah,
almost at that
kinda.
point. It makes
Yeah.
So so with 5 I was weirded out because it seemed like the aiming was more like an RPG or something because like there seemed to be like putting the reticle on the monster's head
Right.
didn't necessarily mean you were going to get a headshot. There was some sort of element of chance there
A
too.
little bit of drift, sure.
Still the case, do you think, or not so much?
No, it seems pretty straight on. Yeah, if I got a reticle as soon as I pull out the gun, and yeah, it'll hit.
Yeah. You're playing the
on.
PC version.
Yeah, I'm playing the.
You playing
PC
with
version.
mouse and keyboard?
No.
Gamepad?
I got to sit on my special comfy chair.
Okay.
So no mouse and keyboard.
What's
But
the
no,
comfy chair?
comfy chair is this like $35 chair from IKEA with some like lumbar support. Man, I got bad.
Oh,
and-
got
Oh,
the
yeah, right,
recline
the
and
back
the
stuff.
rocker thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
like
okay.
I tried sitting up at my desk. It's just, dude, that's not working. It's not working out anymore.
You
But
need the stander.
well, it is kind of a stander,
Okay.
but I can't stand either. I got issues. Anyway,
No standing desk for you.
no, I've got one, but I can't use it right now.
You know, I noticed I didn't when that game popped up on like what's coming up on Steam or PlayStation or whatever, and I saw the logo. I was like, Resident Evil Biohazard. Is this a re-release of the first game?
Yeah.
They would never do that.
No. Capcom never really
Certainly
releases
not.
old games. But then I realized that the VIL is the 7.
Yeah.
I
Dude,
was
it's
like,
the best logo.
damn.
Good.
Yeah,
It is a good logo.
That is awesome.
Yes.
Like they pull the whole thing together.
Uh-huh.
And, yeah, it was really good.
Yep.
Yeah, same thing in Japan as well. They did the same kind of treatment.
Yeah, because it's always been Biohazard. In
Yeah.
Japan.
Yep. And you know, it's Biohazard 7 Resident Evil over there.
Oh yeah,
Like, it's
super dumb. So
good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, this game is super good stuff.
Yeah.
Like from the very beginning, like I said, they're doing some really special stuff aesthetically.
Okay.
There's a good amount of like film grain and stuff, and it even tries to output to my TV at like 24 hertz to really like get
Oh,
that
wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
really cinematic look.
Yeah.
And just like it, somebody over there saw some True Detective, man, and they're going for
Okay.
that aesthetic
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's like
Those huge high aerial shots, when you're driving in and
Yeah.
stuff, and just like the Southern Bayou, it's
Good atmosphere.
It's a really really good atmosphere.
That's cool.
I gotta download this. Sounds
yeah.
good.
There's only some like gore stuff.
Jump scares?
Yeah, there's some jump scares, but they're effective ones. They don't seem super cheesy. Now also bear in mind that this was made with PlayStation VR in mind. So there's how you watch movies in 2D that were made for like 3D, and you'll see those like obviously that was meant
that's
to like
That's the part where they wanted the thing to fly at your face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a few moments like
Okay,
that,
okay.
and you kind of lose the effect. But more often than not, I'm like, shit, I kind of wish that I was playing this in VR.
Can you play the whole thing in VR?
Yeah, you
Oh, yeah.
can.
How do they
actually.
handle movement then? They just make you throw
So
up.
your head is just like the
It's
yeah,
on,
aim
it's like
at
on
that
rails,
point, so,
basically.
yeah,
Oh,
you
okay.
still-
aiming with your neck.
yeah.
Okay.
The controls are still the same.
But you're not like blinking from spot to spot. You're actually
No.
traverse. Wow, that
Traversing.
seems high risk.
It works.
Okay.
It works. Yeah, based on what the demo that I played at an event.
Okay.
Yeah, it totally works.
Cool.
Yeah, according to Dan's review, he played several hours of it in PlayStation VR.
Okay.
He seemed to like it quite a bit, but also he said it like ultimately he seemed to think it was still kind of a gimmick.
Okay.
That like he basically said like just the comfort of slumping on the couch and playing with a controller won out in the end over the novelty of the VR
Okay.
stuff.
I
But
think
it's-
Patrick Klepek actually played the entire thing in VR and
Oh,
loved
did
it.
Did he write a review also?
I don't know if he wrote a review, but just
Yeah,
I saw some
what does he
stuff.
know
Was
about
playing
horror
that.
games?
Okay.
That he really enjoyed it, and like VR is the way to play this game.
Okay. And
Not-
it doesn't have PC VR support, right?
I don't believe so. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't check. I ain't got none of that Vive stuff.
yeah, I know.
Man, jeez.
Yep.
It's expensive.
Game kind of
Will
snuck
hook
up.
me up.
I'll look.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah. I got all the vibes you need. I got 6 vibes at the house right now.
All right,
Like
cool.
actually,
5.
can I have one?
Well, the 3 of them are old. Are the pre's?
Oh, pro?
no.
I have a pre, and then I have 2 of the dev kits that I think I'm
Oh.
not supposed to talk about. Probably. I don't know.
Shouldn't say that in public. If you want to keep those things.
They never. They don't.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
Valve.
while you're looking that up, yeah. So you start off as Ethan. I think you stick with him throughout the entire game, but there's moments where you like pop in a VCR tape. Like
I saw there was one of those in the demo.
and you pop that in, and you actually instead of just like watching the video, you're typically playing it. You're playing a character inside of
Oh.
like that video, whether it be like the cameraman or something like that, or
Yeah.
like one of the main characters as well. So I don't like it in that it's scary.
Yeah.
Like it's effective scary.
Yeah.
And I'm usually not squeamish about that stuff,
Yeah.
but it's there's something special.
That's good to
going
hear.
on there.
It doesn't look like it has VR
Yeah.
on PC.
I thought it was just PlayStation VR for now.
Yeah, I mean that I would think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Given that Valve isn't gonna like, there's nobody saying, hey, if you make this a VR thing, we'll give you some extra cash.
Like Sony might.
Like Sony,
for
could
instance.
perhaps. Yes,
I see. That makes sense.
Did you guys like Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I've never seen any version of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
Sorry.
Like the old,
Mute my
like the '70s one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that movie was scary as shit.
Yeah, it was very
Oh,
scary.
the original?
And and they did it without a lot of gore. Like
It was implied.
it was implied stuff. Yeah, and I was hoping that they would kind of make that decision for this game, but no, it's gory as fuck.
Pretty in your face.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, almost literally.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. So there's a moment early on, very, very visceral, involving a chainsaw.
Okay.
And you're trying to block this chainsaw with your arms. And,
Huh.
yeah.
That seems like a bad idea.
Sounds rough.
Yep.
I-
It's pretty damn rough.
I'm a little afraid to play this in VR. Like, I don't like playing horror games. I've tried early on. I tried a lot of the horror games because there was a lot of the early VR stuff, and it's just too. When you can't look away from the screen, it's just too fucking scary.
I wonder if they actually have you focus, or if you can't move your head during those.
Dan made it sound
I
like you
wonder.
could. He talked about that in the review some.
Okay.
Like
You-
just that.
You can't let people not move their head.
Yeah.
You can't let them not look away. You could put something in front of them no matter where they look, but
Yeah.
you can't prevent them
That
from
stuff.
moving their head.
That
or
stuff
they'll
is
throw up.
crazy effective in VR. Like I played a
yeah.
bunch. I played way more of that Until Dawn rail shooter in PSVR than I should have. I don't know why.
Well, that wasn't even really that. That was
It's
more
not
like,
a great game, but that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like it's the graphics are not amazing. Like it's pretty like lo-fi.
It was like a crazy funfunhouse ride more than a
It's
horror
like
game.
it's kind of a weird, silly, scary,
Yeah.
like carnival funhouse kind of thing. But even then, stuff that never would have like even registered on a TV, just because it pops right up in your face.
yeah.
Like you get that gut reaction.
Well, and
even though it shouldn't be scary, like it kind of just freaks out your lizard brain.
a lot of people have a really strong reaction to like invasion of personal space. So like
Yeah,
you
that's
play
what
that
it was.
Serious Sam game.
Yeah.
Where the monsters just keep
just the
charging
bomb
at you,
guys
and you'll
just run
like turn to
screaming
the
at
right,
you.
and there's one of those
Oh, sure,
those
yeah.
skeleton dinosaur things throwing the chains at you.
Yeah.
That's
You know, I
like
mean,
some people
skeleton
react really
dinosaurs
strong to that.
pretty messed up in any context.
I mean, he throws like two dumbbells attached by a chain. I don't even know how you throw that thing with a skeleton. Yeah, whatever.
I just keep thinking about how good that game was.
Yeah, you gonna go and play some more of it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna totally see this through. There's some like uncanny valley moments.
Okay.
Yeah, because the animation is like so well done.
Yeah.
Especially during some of these like up close and personal like melee fight scenes. The control at that point is just like I don't know if I'm doing something, so I don't know. I kind of lose it at that point.
Yeah.
Same thing with like some of the gun combat. Like I said, enemies are kind of bullet sponges and stuff, and you just pop in a few shots into a guy, run to the other corner of the room, and just rinse and repeat until he's down. So
Yeah.
that's not like super engaging or whatever. But
Yeah.
I think everything surrounding it. I'm definitely going into like every room and just like exploring the hell out of it. Environment seems spot on.
Yeah.
I dig it a lot.
That sounds cool.
Into it.
Cool.
I tried to ask Dan about this, and he played coy.
Okay.
Basically, whether it is actually connected to Resident Evil or not. Like, I'm getting the sense that this is kind of a standalone game, despite being a 7. I don't know if you want to talk about that or if that's something people should find out.
I don't
for
know that I'm
themselves.
far enough in, but definitely on the onset, like it feels like a hard break from that series. And the only thing really tying it together, I think, is just like, there seems to be some sort of biohazard.
Okay.
Maybe they put that
change in
the
people.
7.
Yeah.
Maybe they made it subtle for a
Oh,
reason.
sure. Yeah.
This is the Resident Evil.
I mean, it's just like every Resident Evil game built on like the crazy Umbrella stuff and T-Virus and then G-Virus and then Wesker and like,
There may be some of that later, but I don't know.
crazy with just the amount of stuff piling up over time over the 6 games and like 18 zillion spinoffs. So
yeah.
The timing is really weird too because that new Resident Evil movie is opening this week.
wait, is there another one? Really?
Oh God, yes.
Is there actually
There's
another
an
Resident Evil
Underworld
movie?
movie and a new Resident Evil
Wow.
movie in January. I feel like I'm in like 1999.
That's kind of
Beckinsale versus Jovovich. Fight.
Fucking,
This is going to be a crossover at some
I
point,
give
right?
her credit for like that's all she does now, but the Resident Evil movies. I think I saw Annihilation or Apocalypse back at Screen. I reviewed one, and it was god awful.
Was Apocalypse it was the desert one, right?
I don't.
With
The first
pyramids?
3D one, the one that were like in prison
it
for
was
like half of
bad.
it. Oh, they're all really bad. Like Resident Evil, the first movie.
The first one had some
decent.
charm.
No, it's not terrible. And then it just kind of fucking went on and on and on.
That elevator thing still, and the laser slicing. Those are still
the laser
that's
slicing.
good horror moments.
They put laser slicing back in this one apparently because it's the
course.
final chapter or whatever. But
Wait, did they actually say it's the last one?
I believe, they're kind of. I don't think
They
it's.
said Apocalypse was the last one too. I think
They say a lot of things.
It
No,
turns
there's
out-
always the post-apocalypse. you know?
Well, is she still married to the director? Is it still the same?
Yeah,
I don't.
That's Kate Beckinsale and Lynn Wiseman, I think, are married. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
but Mila Jovovich was married to what's his name?
Paul
Or what?
It's the guy who's Paul Thomas Anderson, except Paul.
It's the one that's not the Magnolia guy.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're two
The
dudes,
the
with, like,
horror
almost,
guy.
almost the
Yeah.
exact
Yeah,
same
yeah,
name.
yeah,
But yeah, so if you're in the mood for more Resident Evil
Yeah, what
Friday,
is this, like the 6th or 7th
it's
one,
like
probably?
I want to say
5th?
7. It's
There's been a lot of those.
They're I don't know. I've seen a few commercials. And I just groaned like
Luc
they're-
Besson.
Oh, yes.
She's married. He produces the. I don't even know.
Fifth
if
Element
Luke
guy.
Besson is the
Yeah.
fifth
I don't
element. Yeah.
I think he's even involved in this.
Maybe
stuff.
not.
I thought
Is
he
he
really?
had
Is that
something
who
to do
she's
with
married
those
to?
for a while.
I think so.
I don't know. He produces a lot of stuff that comes out of France.
like the Minions movies.
I don't know what that is a reference
Wait,
to.
really?
No, he does not produce the Minions movies,
okay.
but they do come from France.
Do they really?
Illumination.
I didn't know that.
That's canon, yeah.
Is that like how the Transformers were actually originally Japanese? And
Wait, what? Are you kidding? I thought that was the GoBots.
oh, maybe both.
The GoBots definitely were originally Japanese.
Yeah, no, I
They
think
were like Bandai. Or something.
I thought. I mean, Transformers definitely were also happening in Japan in the 80s at the same time.
But when
I thought that's where they originated.
Next thing
but
you're gonna tell me GI Joe came
yeah,
from
because like
Russia.
what's God, what is Optimus Prime's name in Japan? I think it's
Optimus
Convoy.
Prime.
I think his name is
Optimus Prime.
Convoy.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
good
Jeff
song, too.
Jeff knows a bunch about that stuff. He can tell you about some Japanese Transformers.
But yeah, when was the last time we had a week when a like AAA game and a AAA movie based on the
Oh,
same
in the same
property have come out?
franchise?
They're not obviously
Yeah.
not related at
Yeah.
all. This
Yeah.
new movie is like
Right.
shooting people in the head with a submachine gun. But it's been a long time since I can remember a really big game release being tied. Obviously, they tied this together somehow. I'm assuming the game just kind of got pushed back to the movie. it was
Deadpool
ready.
maybe. Deadpool HD.
Did they have
that came out the same week last year.
Did they? I don't
Did
even
they
remember.
re-release
There was
the,
a game? There's a
They
Deadpool game?
re-released the Xbox 360
Yes,
game
they did
when the
do
movie
it.
came out.
They did do a
Wow.
re-release.
Yeah.
of the Deadpool
Wow.
game.
Wasn't that
I didn't
pulled
realize that.
for a while? I want to say
it
that
might
they-
have been.
Yeah, I think they actually like pulled that from like digital stuff.
yeah.
And I don't know if that was just a weird licensing thing or what, but it's back.
Battlefront had that Rogue One map and the Force
Yeah,
Awakens map.
that's true.
Like some DLC tie-ins.
Yeah, they've been
kind of.
pushing some stuff out for that.
Huh.
Battlefront, not Battlefront.
It's not like RE7 totally came out of nowhere, but I feel like it did sort of sneak up.
It definitely has not been marketed
Like
as heavily.
they
I haven't
only
seen any
they only
TV
an-
ads for it.
They only announced it at E3 last year, and then they had that demo that they kept adding to.
I mean, if you take a look at some of their setups at the shows, they built that huge
Yeah, I
house
know
and
it's
stuff.
I know
like,
it's still been around.
I think they've been pressing it pretty hard.
Yeah.
That was my impression.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I guess I don't feel like I saw a huge like trailer blitz in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
guess
think it was
people
demo
are still
after demo.
people are still getting past like the kind of Christmas shopping season.
If you look at Battlefield, like Battlefield, I saw a lot of ads for on TV
Yeah.
because I also see a lot of ads on like.
That was
football games and
different
stuff.
different companies. Completely.
I get it, but I mean,
Maybe they
like,
blew all the
Capcom
money
is
on
Capcom's in a different spot.
They sent us a VCR with like a
Yeah.
VHS tape.
Yeah, they sent that.
was on the tape?
Maybe
It
they
was
blew all the money
some
on
weird
that.
viral marketing nonsense that they were trying to get people to like capture
Yeah,
and put on the
yeah.
internet.
They're like mentioning your specific site name, and they did.
Send
like,
us
every
the
big-
giant bomb.
Yeah,
It was just kind of like
we're good, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's probably a meta game that if everybody
Yes.
uploads the tapes, there's some clue that you overlay them all.
Some I'm sure some ARG was taking place or something. I don't know.
I doubt
But I'm glad to hear the game's all right.
This
Yeah,
is a,
I'm genuinely surprised.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite times of year for games that didn't make fourth quarter that are maybe secretly unsurprisingly good.
Yeah.
Because good stuff has come out in January and February in the
Oh
last
yeah.
2 years.
Yeah. There was that shift. I don't know when that was like kind of
Like 5-6 years ago.
yeah,
probably,
kind of like
right?
halfway through the last generation where
Yeah.
January, February, March went from like the dumping ground of complete garbage to like here's all these great games that just barely got delayed past.
Maybe it's better not to ship hugely broken shit and just wait
Yeah.
a few months
Yes.
and like actually put some there's that dead time.
Don't worry, there's still plenty of usually broken shit coming
If your
out.
movie's coming out in January, it's probably a real piece of shit. But apart from that, like games has definitely gotten a little better.
Q1 kind of started mattering, and that was always cool.
Yeah.
It's back when like Mass Effect or KOTOR, I remember, come out in the middle of summer, and before that, nothing had ever like really come out.
Nothing that big had ever like been a summer game.
Yeah.
Jason, you play anything else, or is that?
A little bit of Tales of Berseria. I'm not a huge Tales fan.
Yeah. Is that just a Tales game, or is it's not like an offshoot?
It's a prequel to Zestiria.
It's like
I'm not
the
sure
new Tales
where
game.
that
It's like a
falls
Sonic
into
game?
line.
I don't know.
It's separate.
Tales
yeah,
is
there's
a long-running JRPG series.
Yeah, totally.
Like long.
16 installments.
This
Wait,
is
actually?
16.
Do you actually know that for a fact?
Yeah.
That's
Look it
crazy.
up.
That's
what
crazy.
That's what I read.
That's more than Final Fantasy
yeah, that's a lot of games.
by one.
No, it's super cool. I like the characters an awful lot.
Yeah.
This is the first time they've had like a solo female protagonist. Back in Vesperia, they had like co-host, male and female. But I like Raven as a character an awful lot. The story is actually really good. Like I'm intrigued by it anyway. Combat totally feels like an old, the more recent Tales games for sure, like an action RPG and stuff.
Yeah.
So, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
totally all right. I don't know if I'm gonna hang with it, but yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
What the hell else have I been playing? I know there's other stuff, but you guys go. If I remember,
All right.
I'll let you know.
Jason's made the hand gesture in Will
here
Smith's
we go.
direction.
Hello.
Hi. How's life? What you been up to?
It's good, man. We're finishing up the first episode of the Foo Show, which has taken a lot of time,
Yes.
it turns out.
Yes.
And I'm sending out surveys to Kickstarter backers so we can send a beta version as soon as it's ready to go out
Nice.
to them, and then we'll release it on the store in a couple weeks, hopefully.
Excellent.
It's taking longer than expected.
Yes.
But
You got to build new technology on. Look, VR is new technology, and then you're building new tech on top of that.
Having done this on the web before, I learned it's really, really hard building a game that uses multiple interfaces. So like we have a hand interface with hand controllers for like Oculus Touch and Vive, and then we have a gamepad interface.
Yeah.
And then we have a gamepad with headset interface, and then we have a gamepad with screen interface. So like those you'd think those would work the same, but they kind of don't, because like with the head you just point at what you want and then click a button and grab it, and with the controller you have to use the stick to aim, and it's like there's a lot going on.
A lot of different design and testing scenarios.
We were really optimistic, and then everybody got sick, and like some people have had personal stuff, and it's a 3-man team, so
slow you down a little bit.
Delays happen.
Yes.
But I'm getting ready to order pins and T-shirts. So
nice.
But I play games too.
Okay. What you been playing?
I played this thing on my phone. So I played Solitarica, which I think we talked about a couple weeks ago, which is fucking great.
Yeah,
Jesus
Christ!
Christ.
That's really been
wow.
Been kind of blowing up the office a little bit.
It's been blowing up my battery.
It is a battery slayer. But have any of you beat the boss yet?
No, I've gotten 2 or 3 cards away. I think, 16 or out of 18. I think it is.
I got to like the mini boss before the boss. And
Okay.
he just fucking took me apart, and I have had to completely change my strategy for building my character.
Is the
until I get
boss
to that point.
is the boss like the end of a run? 'Cause it's run based, right?
It's like
ro-
it's a
roguelike.
roguelike. Yeah. And it's like everybody should play that. That game is amazing. But I also have been playing this thing called Gunhouse.
Okay.
That's it's like a puzzle game tower defense thing. And it's a different kind of puzzle game than I've ever really seen before. You have to get like blocks together, but then you use those blocks to load either a front facing like cannon power up, and the color of the blocks, you have 3 different colors of blocks, and the colors of the blocks determine what the cannon does.
Okay.
Or you can slide them. You slide them left to load the cannon. You slide them right to load like an area effect, kind of riff on that same thing. So for example, if you have orange tiles and they make fire cannons, and they fire these little fire discs that go forward and go through enemies.
Okay.
But if you move it to the right, then it'll be like fire jets that come up to the ground and hit everything vertically.
Okay.
So you have
That sounds cool.
It is really hard because unlike every Bejeweled, like your brain doesn't know the language of the puzzle.
So is the block portion is like a match 3 looking kind of thing? I mean, not saying you match 3, but like it's that style of sliding blocks around.
No, so it's you can slide blocks on and off the screen. You don't have they can go away to make space for the blocks that you have.
I see.
But you can't if you need a block that's in the middle, you're pretty much fucked.
Okay.
It's a column of it's 3 columns and probably 9 rows, I think. So it's not a lot of space to work with. And the more blocks, like the bigger the block that you slide left and right, the more powerful your cannons are, your attacks are. So like, and you can you can like stack multiples in. So you can do like you can do like 2 fire. You can do 2 complete rows of fire, and then clear enough space to get 2 more rows. But there's a time limit on that. So it's a lot like that that Square Enix game that came out for the DS, I think. It's the one that was set in Shibuya, and there was like 2 different puzzle games. One on the top, one on the bottom. The world is not enough.
No,
Fine.
the world ends with you.
The world ends with
Yes.
you. That's it.
That's
Wow.
I think it's a James
I never
James
liked
Bond
that
movie.
game.
It was really hard.
That game, yeah, a lot of people really, really liked it. I just,
Yeah, I never played it, but it was super popular.
yeah.
So
from
this
what I remember.
this alternates back. Like instead of having to do both at the same time, like you have to do this alternates back and forth. So you have like a puzzle round, and the tower defense action stops while that's happening, and then you switch to a you do the tower defense section, and they're both time limited. So it's like you have 20 seconds to solve puzzles, and then you have 20 seconds to do the tower defense stuff, and it's like switching back and forth between that and Solitaire has been really good. So
That looks pretty great. Yeah.
That
Is that
Yeah.
is that free to play or?
it is. I think it was like $3.
Okay.
So it's in that same kind of like. There doesn't seem to be any microtransactions.
Nice.
There's a shop, so you do have to like buy stuff to upgrade the different guns, and
not with real
not
money.
with real money.
Okay.
And I don't think there's even a way to get real money in here that
Okay.
I've seen so far.
Seems like there's maybe a little more of that going around on mobile recently. Just like kind of like it's like here is a solid, awesome game
Yeah,
for a small like $3, $4, and we're not going to charge you anymore. And that's nice to see.
I think it might have microtransactions because you might be able to try a demo and then unlock the rest of the game.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure. About
Yeah, but I mean that's where I burned out on stuff like Clash Royale is just like this is an awesome game that is going to become an endless money sink if I start spending money on it.
You guys talk about that
yeah.
dude who spent $1 million, or did I bring it up
What?
last time? Somebody embezzled $5 million from his company and spent $1 million. I want to say on Game of War or Clash
Wow.
of War or
Jesus.
something. $1 million fucking dollars.
Is this story floating around? I need to read that. That sounds insane.
It was maybe a month ago that this
Okay.
came out. Like the dude literally stole $5 million from his company and somehow put $1 million into one game.
Wow.
I want to say it was Game of War.
That is the whale of all whales.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Really, that's somebody's looking at the spreadsheet of like whales, and like one dude is 100 times bigger than the next dude.
I guess those Kate Upton ads really got to him.
Or the Mariah Carey also. Yeah.
She
She did one, I think, and
For
it was
them?
really bad.
Huh.
Yeah. After Kate Upton quit, and she did this weird run thing where it looks like she was sped up her animation or something like that. It was none of those ads are fucking great. But,
Yeah. Mariah Carey's not having a lot of luck recently.
I love the subgenre of free to play mobile game television ads are just like because they never really show what the game actually looks like. It's all huge CGI budgets.
Something that they
spending
spent,
Yeah,
it's $1
and then
million on this ad, and you
some
never actually see what the game looks like.
eating.
But it's always like a famous person standing in front of a green screen for maybe 45 minutes to do the shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger was doing a
tap-
bunch
yeah.
of those for I forget which one.
Game
Clash
of War.
For
Clash
some
Clash of-
military themed game.
Yeah.
Clash
Mobile
of-
Strike.
Mobile, yes,
Strike,
that's
I
right.
remember them all in the end.
That's right.
They're all the same. All the titles
my
are getting
God.
weird too. Like
Yeah.
Game of Clans, Clan of Strikes,
Yeah.
just like some alphabet soup.
Well, we don't watch we watch all of the TV through apps now, and that means that basically you just see a shitload of the
La-di-da.
same terrible
Yeah.
ads
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
over and over. And anyway, it's
Yeah.
Nothing
No.
nothing like seeing the same commercial 3 times in a 30-minute program.
bad times.
When you stream
Yeah.
through ESPN or when we stream ESPN over like Comcast Sports Network or Xfinity, it's usually like they're saturated and you get so tired of.
Well, and
Yeah.
and they're like, anyway, it's like, hey, we don't have a 90-second ad for our thing. Don't worry about it, man. We can just run the same 30-second one
ads,
3
yeah.
times in
Yeah.
a row.
So I'm sure by the 3rd time I see it, I will be more likely to buy your thing. Thanks.
Never going to buy.
I guess there's some regulation where you can't, because when I stream, they don't put in like local ads. I know. So if you watch something on TV, they have to have like national and local stuff.
Some of them do.
I don't, but at least streaming ESPN through Xfinity, like they usually take out all the local stuff, and we'll just have like one,
Like a still
here's nationwide insurance for they buy it out.
Sometimes it'll just be like a silent still.
Yeah,
They
we'll
just kinda strip
we'll
that
be
stuff
back
out.
in a few
Yeah.
minutes. Like ESPN does it a lot, so it's I don't know.
Remember when I was a kid, we had a satellite dish before everybody started encrypting all their feeds, and so you could turn the crank on the satellite and point it at the NBC satellite and like watch the actual feed from the control booth or
wow. Right,
wherever.
Because
can
they're
find
beaming it
those too
somewhere. Like if
sometimes.
they do like a remote, like on location
Yeah.
interview or something like that, and they've got to coordinate with back
Oh,
at the-
wow.
at the home
You're
studio
seeing all that stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah. They're all
that
There's
sounds
some really
awesome
interesting
now, though,
stuff
right?
out there.
There are sometimes you can find those for
It's all
NBA
encrypted
games.
now.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think.
sure. Yeah, like you need a box to.
Yeah.
NBA games will sometimes have the in stadium feed, so you get like the halftime show and like the weird dudes running around shooting t-shirts into the audience.
Weird dudes.
Oh,
Yeah, the weird
Fucking
dudes.
cool dudes.
yeah. T-shirt
I want that
those,
job.
those guys got to
Man.
work too.
Yeah. It's bizarre to see those because they're just like the kiss cam and stuff like that you never see on actual TV.
Oh, sure. Oh, you just like the stuff people in the stadium are seeing?
Yeah, like if you go to the concession stands,
like on
what
the
they're pumping out.
Jumbotron feed, basically.
Yeah, it's really weird.
One time I went to a concert. A friend of my wife's ran. It's like a stage manager, so he's on tour a lot, and when he comes to town, he gets us into the shows, whatever shows he's on. And we went to a Keith Urban show, I think, at the Fillmore. And he was like, "Hey, I'm going to give you something, but if anybody sees you with it, just act like you found it on the ground. Don't tell them I gave it to you." And it was the monitor for like the behind the scenes crew radio.
Oh, wow.
So we could listen and hear like when you could hear what the sound guys were saying to the light guys and what the
that's cool.
director was saying to the sound.
Yeah.
You know, and like the guy in the back of the audience was like, "Hey, the mix is a little hot. Turn the vocals down." And then
Fucking awesome.
Keith Urban hit one of his foot pedals and was like, "Hey guys, the bass is a little too loud in my monitors. Can you turn it down?" So like he was able to talk while he was singing, not while he was singing, but like during a song when he was playing, and be like, "Yeah, it's fucking
holy cow."
Like, that was like the NASCAR.
Yeah.
Like you've been to NASCAR and you hear the pit radios.
Yeah.
You get the pit radios, which is awesome. But that was I had no idea that was a
I
thing.
didn't know he could.
existed.
I didn't know he could do it like mid song.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
And he was just piped into the normal microphone. It
Yeah.
was just like, it was fucking cool.
Wow, that's awesome.
I also played 2064 Read Only Memories.
How is that? Because I've been curious about that for a while.
So
and not because, full disclosure, Dan Reichert
Oh yeah.
in that game.
I mean, that's a minus if you ask me, frankly. But you know,
I'm not saying it's a good thing, but we should put it out there. He did like a very small voice role in
Yeah,
it, right?
I think so. But
so I didn't I bought that because I know a bunch of people who worked on it, and I'm a sucker for like 16-bit throwback games. It's kind of I've only played maybe an hour and 40 minutes probably at this point, I would guess, and it starts pretty slow, but it's kind of like do you remember those old NES era adventure games like Deja Vu and Shadowgate?
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah, so it's a lot like that. Like you have a relatively static image of a scene, and then you have to make some choices about what happens in that scene. So you start in like your bedroom, and you have to kind of navigate like what you're gonna do at like an old adventure game, and it moves just like one of those old adventures. Like it's slow.
Is it more menu and like choice driven, or do you have an inventory and you're using object on thing?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
So you definitely have an inventory. It doesn't look like it's going to be like I don't think it's going to be like an old LucasArts adventure game where you have like 50 things and you have to combine them in an infinity of ways.
Yeah.
It definitely hit that Deja Vu Shadowgate.
Yeah. Shadowgate.
Yeah, kind of vibe for me.
It seemed like they were going after. I mean, you tell me, like the Snatcher, like Police Knots, like Kojima.
I never played any of those
stuff.
games.
oh wow. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
We watched Jeff play a good bit of Snatcher a few months ago.
What's Snatcher?
Snatcher was one of Kojima's. I'm trying to think. So he did like the Metal Gear games on MSX, and those came out on NES, and then I think all he ever put out on the 16-bit platforms was Snatcher and Police Knots, which are
like adventure-y
which are
kind of
these.
things?
They were like first person.
30. Well, I mean,
Well, they came out on a bunch of stuff, but I think they were on like Sega CD and like that era of CD systems. But yeah, those were the same thing as like first person graphic novel style, like, just flat 2D art.
Yeah.
Like 2D backgrounds.
Well, so
pixel art stuff.
This is like, I mean, in the same way that like, everything but Shovel Knight basically takes that aesthetic and then like applies modern
filters
touch.
and
like you can
stuff you couldn't.
There's
do
way
back
more
then.
there's way more colors and stuff going on than you would have seen in an 8-bit game. I think on this in this one, unless they're just being really clever. But it like the setting for it is a kind of cyberpunk, maybe dystopia. I haven't really figured it out yet. It seems like it like there's robots, and the robots are not like conscious. They're not sentient.
Yeah.
Except for maybe some of them are, and like there's it seems like a really good setup. I'm definitely gonna go back to it and play some more. But
Turing is your robot buddy. They're fantastic. Seriously, there's lots of really good dialogue in the game. Music's really good.
Yeah.
I like
the music is like it really good. Is not like if you like that kind of music, it is super dope.
Yes. Absolutely.
Like I left it running in the background on my computer the other day while I was working because I was enjoying the music so much, and I didn't buy the soundtrack yet. So
you should.
I'm going to buy the soundtrack.
Totally. Yeah. I think people should get that game. I've been leery about talking about it because Dan's in it and stuff. But no, I soft spot in my heart for
Cool.
that game for sure.
Sounds good. Yeah, I've been curious about that thing. I might have to check that out at some point.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it did. I thought it did start a little slow, or it
Sure.
could have just been me.
Sure. Yeah, there's totally a little bit of ramp up,
But if you push through, it picks up really nicely. I thought.
really quickly
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Excellent.
And there's references to Hassie in there, which is
Hassie?
great. What's Hassie?
What's that?
Oh my god.
I don't know what
Oh
Hassie
my
is.
god.
Don't do
The
that.
old Dreamcast stuff.
Dreamcast.
Never mind.
All
right.
Oingo
You people know.
Boingo and Samba de
You people know what
Migo
it
Do some homework.
and
Yeah.
Crazy Taxi.
Ill
Come back.
Bleed.
Come back with a book report next week.
What other game?
Illbeat, I do remember.
Blue Stinger.
Okay.
It was a drink inside of those games.
Ah.
Like an energy drink.
Okay. Wow, that is a deep cut.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
All right. It's good to know. You play anything else, or pretty much what's
Overwatch.
taking up your time?
Played a lot. I mean,
I hear
kind of
Overwatch is decent.
I like to. I've gotten to a point in the rank in the competitive stuff now where I like get good matchmaking most of the time.
Yeah.
And if you say, "Hey, how's it going?" at the start of the match, so people talk,
Yeah.
then you win.
Oh,
That's
wow,
all it
that's-
takes to win.
Oh, that's a good trick.
You just
that's some
like
subtle social engineering.
yeah, like if you can get people to talk
Yeah.
even a little bit at
Yeah.
the start of those games, then it'll be enough to be like, "Hey, we're getting wiped out here. Don't push right now."
Yeah.
That's
just,
all it takes.
Just to establish the baseline of communication.
Yep, and like try to avoid ethnic and racial slurs if you can help it.
Yeah.
Like that
If you can
also
help
is-
it.
It's so tough though.
I mean,
sometimes.
like it's just like every day is a constant battle.
Sometimes it just pops out.
Yeah, but yeah,
yeah.
it's like that matchmaking is it. Playing that and then playing like the other like Battlefield 1 and Titanfall and that stuff. It's the matchmaking in that game is just so fucking good. It's Anyway, sorry, that's it.
Getting you in there with the people that
Yeah,
are at your level.
yeah, like and also that have like compatible play styles. So you
Okay.
get like if you like to play 3 tanks and 2 damage,
Oh,
and
okay.
2 healers
Yeah,
or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Then
So it's
it'll
like
it seems to be matching
you
you
think
with
they're
people
you
that
think
have
they're
similar.
taking class preference into account.
I mean it. Like I haven't seen a Hanzo in weeks.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
I don't hear good things about Hanzo.
fuck Hanzo,
so,
man. He's
yeah.
the worst.
I hear they're adding a CTF mode to that.
Really?
That's what there's some data mining or something like that. And also, I guess, did they already add a 3-person version?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so they updated the arcade stuff like a month or more ago now, I think,
Yeah.
right? And there's like 3v3. So instead of having just like one kind of free weird mode, like a goofy mode, now there's always a 3v3. It seems like there's a 1v1, which is I don't like, but whatever.
It seems like that's a straight like mismatch. Like whoever.
well, no,
picks
it's
the
it's class. You always play the same class.
Oh,
so it's
okay, I
mirror,
see.
mirror
I
battle.
I hate mirror matches
It's
in
so-
general.
it's bad. Like May versus May is just you're going to spend 20 minutes and it's going to be a draw.
Gross.
But yeah, somebody data mined, I think, and said there's some kind of CTF coming to that, which
That's
seems like it'd be
cool.
fun. Yeah, I always like CTFs in multiplayer games.
And that new map is pretty good, though. Aces map. I think that came out a while ago. You guys might have talked about it already.
I haven't played.
So anyway,
Zero
Overwatch
experience with
continues to be
Overwatch.
awesome.
So I hear. All right. So funny.
Nothing. No. Do you still play Overwatch? I mean,
No, I haven't played it in
People,
quite a while.
ask always in chat, like, if you guys are still playing.
You should play Overwatch,
I know
Brad.
Dan still
maybe I'll play
might be
It's good for
still
you.
into it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I want to so bad.
I see Dan sometimes. He pops up sometimes.
Yeah.
Does he really?
Yeah.
I can't because like I will get into that game again
And just-
like
and
nobody's
just-
business.
I just
Not put it
do-
down.
Yeah.
I'll do like I stop after 2 matches. So I'll play like
Yeah, that's how it was
I'll
for me.
Play 2
Yeah.
and then I can walk away.
Yeah.
You're
and-
a stronger
and, like,
person than I am.
It was a real good pop in,
Yeah.
have
Man.
fun for 20 minutes, pop out.
I mean, the secret is to win both of those, so then I feel satisfied and don't have to
Right.
keep going down that hole.
And you have to know how to cut your losses. Like that was the thing I never
Yeah.
learned with Dota was just like lose a match. It's like, well, screw this. I'm not getting up until I win one. And then you win one and you're like, that felt so good. I'm going to play another one and win that one too. And then nope, cycle just starts over.
Are you at the point with Griffin where you're like concerned about what he sees on screen? Like, are you? Because I know.
yeah,
obviously-
towally. Yeah, there's been
Overwatch is
for the
pretty
first,
benign though, isn't it?
I'm not
still
saying.
people
I'm
shooting
more
each other, though.
curious
Yeah, I
in
guess
general.
yeah, there was a definite moment in which like he started reacting to things on screen.
yeah.
We were watching Child's Play actually, like during
Wow, man, just getting him started early.
yeah, and he got freaked out, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, I can't watch this stuff
Yeah.
in front of him anymore. So I've been a little picky and choosy.
They're making a new one of those too.
Are they really?
Yeah, there's a new Child's Play movie coming out.
It's got to be like 6 or something.
I don't know,
it,
but
Is it
it's
serious or campy?
They've been
always
super
been
campy. Like
first one was
Bride of
pretty
Chucky,
serious,
son of
though.
Yeah.
The one with Meg Tilly, I remember.
yeah, that
Son
one was
of
kind of on
Chucky.
the nose.
Bride of
Chucky.
Is it still Chucky in the new one?
Yeah, I
It would
believe
have
so.
to
I
be,
think it's
right?
the same voice actor and everything.
Wasn't that Brad Dourif?
Was it
think?
Brad
I
Dourif?
think. I'm pretty sure. I might be
man,
wrong.
Brad
I'd
Dourif.
swear it was him.
But
Docs-
some of those later ones, like they got really campy and
Yeah.
very funny.
A lot of
They're
humor,
kinda
a lot
cool.
of horror did
I
for
like 'em.
like the late like mid to late 90s was all like after Scream came out, it was all on the nose referential
Meta.
bullshit.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
Not that Scream
was-
wasn't a good movie, but
Horror
but
movies.
yeah, I know
Horror movies had to go and get funny after
I
that.
know what you
Yeah.
did last summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so no, when you were playing, no, I'm not saying Overwatch is like something you want to hide from your kid, but you're talking about Resident Evil. Like I'm assuming that's
I
the kind of
totally would
stuff.
not play that in
Yeah.
front of him. Like
Yeah.
at that point, I've got to suffer and sit up at my desk.
Yeah.
What was he like 18 months or something now?
14
Okay.
months.
Is
Almost
he
15
making
months.
words?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a few of them. He's
We had
got
this- yeah.
more.
Ah.
Yeah, we taught him that because
More?
we get sick of the
Yeah.
and
Like
just
the-
holding out
the
the
Spirited
arm.
When he
Away
wants
guy.
something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when he wants more food or something like that, or when he's hungry,
Yeah.
he was it's so cute how he just like focuses on it, because normally it's like meh.
Yeah.
More.
He sounds like he's ready to become a poster on the internet. Just find him a forum. Just
Yeah.
meh. More.
Yeah.
There you go.
Say that over and
Yep.
over.
He's
Yeah.
halfway there already.
Yeah, we're working on specific words and stuff, and usually one syllable stuff for the most part. And yeah, he's super receptive to it. He's
Cool.
goddamn, he's fun. I like him.
He's a fun kid.
Yeah.
It's like you're into the salad days now until he's like
Yeah.
probably 3 or 3.5.
Oh, yeah.
When he starts getting free will and
Yeah.
has no self control, that's a bad time for
And that
him.
lasts until you're about 40, in my experience.
Yeah.
He's only got some of that right now, man. And yeah, I spent most of my
is
day
he
yesterday.
mobile? Is he real mobile?
Oh, yeah, he
Up and-
crawls.
up and running.
He
So sick.
they had a birthday party, and I think was it Regina's son who was like trying to walk the dog.
Yep.
Which is super cute. This little like 1 month and 1 year and 3-year-old kid just like trying to walk. It was Simone, Mary's dog, and Simone luckily
So,
he
French
kind of
bulldog?
Yeah, he kind of felt that there was a kid. He wasn't tugging. He wasn't going too fast, but he definitely like I want to go now. I smell food.
Not happy.
Yeah.
That was a fun party.
Chloe flattened our daughter a couple of times just because she was holding the leash and she would just take off and just pancake right face first.
That's
Like,
my. There's
Chloe's-
a lot of those videos on YouTube.
Chloe's
like-
kind of a dick, though.
Chloe has in her she's 11 now.
Oh,
so
wow.
She's kind of crotchety.
Okay.
And that's being kind.
Yeah.
Like my daughter knows if she makes the grumbly noise or wrinkles the nose, that means just don't be there anymore.
Back off a little bit.
Yeah, it's bad. It's
Yep.
it's yeah. She's matronly.
Baby dog relations
not
are tense,
Yeah.
kind of precarious situation.
Yeah, we had the kid 2 years too late for the dog to really like
Warm up too.
yeah before the kid was old enough to get in trouble. Anyway,
All right, we need to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about some more stuff.
Making food in your house.
In my house.
In your house.
How do I do that?
The easiest way is to if the food comes to you. And that's what Blue Apron can do.
Oh man.
They'll send you these fresh ingredients, and you can use those ingredients to make these delicious meals.
So it's like food blocks. You can sit down on the floor with some blocks and make a thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Except you could sit down in front of an oven or some kind of cooking apparatus and do it. They provide the instructions, the right amount of food to make these recipes. And do you want to hear about these recipes?
Yes, I do.
Of course you do. Here are just some of the meals available in January. Spicy shrimp and Korean rice cakes with cabbage and furikake.
Sounds exotic.
Yeah. They have a pronunciation next to it now. This
Oh,
is
yeah?
fear cake, which I don't think is right.
Huh.
I don't know that that's right.
I don't know if it's right, but I'd give it a shot.
Pork chops and garlic piccata with scallion rice and spinach. How
I will
about that?
take any kind of pork chop.
Yeah, I know you will. Mushroom and chipotle pepper enchiladas with lime sour cream.
Zesty.
Zesty. Indeed. Those are just some of the meals you could be getting sent to your door, and then you can cook it.
Great.
And eat it.
Yeah.
Delicious food coming to your door almost no matter where you live. You're in some food desert?
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, me neither.
If I was in one, would I know it?
Who knows? If you were in one, maybe all they have there by default is just like beef sticks or something like that. And it's like, okay, if you want decent food,
What do you got
not
against
to
beef stick?
disparage beef sticks.
Okay, thank
Look,
you.
beef sticks have
Thank
their
you.
place. But if you want to get some food shipped to you, Blue Apron can do that. And you can get your first 3 meals for free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/bombcast. Head over there. You can get a look at this week's menu. You'll love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. That's blueapron.com/bombcast. Blue Apron, you know what it is?
What?
A better way to cook.
Will, before we move on to the news,
Be rad, Shoemaker.
I understand you're on a quest for a fat suit.
I need a fat suit. I need a belly suit.
Go on.
I can't say why.
Oh, is that top
Sorry.
secret information?
It's top secret information.
Was I not supposed to bring that up?
It'll all become clear in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, if anybody has a good like belly suit, I need a good,
Just a
really, really pronounced belly suit that I can get from Amazon. So just tweet me links at Will Smith.
What if you just started drinking beer nonstop?
It's not for me.
Oh.
I can take care of this problem. Look, I bought 2 Oreos.
Mm-hmm.
Oreos were on sale, 2 for 1 at the grocery store the
I
other
don't know.
day.
You can buy those individually.
What?
You
You
bought
can buy them
singles?
individually.
You want
No,
Lucy's?
like the
Oreo
like the
Lucy's?
family size.
Oh, gotcha.
So I got a golden and a traditional.
Mm.
Damn.
You know, there's like 80 million flavors of Oreos
Yeah.
now.
I didn't know that
Velvet,
until
birthday
Yeah,
cake.
somebody sent some in. Like there was like a red velvet cake.
I think we did.
Yeah.
I think we did a bunch of Oreo tests on a UPF a few months ago.
Candy
But yeah,
corn.
yes, I think
You ever
we-
have chocolate covered Oreos?
Yeah, I think
Those are
those,
okay.
those
They're
were in there.
fantastic.
I think we got a candy corn. We got a there was a red velvet cake.
Yep.
There's mint. I like the mint ones. Okay.
There's like
Mint's good.
pound cake. There's
There
something
was
else
some-
weird.
what was the other weird one? That,
Cinnamon. It was cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Something.
What?
cinnamon
Yeah.
Oreos.
They did
Cinnamon.
black and white for a while, where it's like one golden Oreo cookie and
Ooh.
one chocolate Oreo
Okay.
cookie with the filling gluing them together.
Now you got to diversify. You know,
That's
I mean,
very
there's-
progressive.
The,
of them.
the Oreo is the Oreo is the old standby, but at a certain point, you got to. If you want to grow the business, you got to start taking some risks.
My favorite recent flavor variation, Coca-Cola Life.
What does that taste like?
I guess it's
What?
some kind of like lower
What?
calorie or it's like all natural sugar or something, but
it
it's
like
like
young people's
literally
blood?
Is that-
Coca-Cola Life.
Is that an American product?
I believe so.
'Cause that
I've
sounds
seen
like
it.
something it would be in like Japan or
I've seen
South
it.
America
I've
or
seen it
something.
here
that
for
sounds like a weird
sure. Is it
foreign Coke.
Like
Wait.
I have 1 can of Coke a week, but I realize it's the worst thing I put in my body the entire week. It's
That's
basically
pretty
like
good.
jet fuel and like I don't even know what they put in Coke anymore. It's like pure like
Love.
bone
Yeah.
disintegrator is basically the secret ingredient in Coke. But yes, Coca-Cola Life for a healthier all natural Coke.
Is it green? Is it the green
Yes,
label?
it's green label.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh, weird.
Pretty sure it's called Coca-Cola
yeah.
Life.
So they have red is the high fructose corn syrup Coke.
Okay,
Silver is the Diet Coke.
sure.
Black
Is
Coke
Coke
Zero.
Yep.
That's Diet Coke for men.
Yes.
And then green is hippie Coke.
Ah.
Stevia.
Okay.
It uses stevia.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
You ever think the people who made stevia were like at the end of Breaking Bad just got like their stock plummeted or like people stopped buying
Oh,
it?
right.
I'm really curious.
What-
Stevia. Right. I totally I forgot about that. Stevia became a
Integral plot point at the end of Breaking Bad.
vehicle for assassinating somebody.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was pretty interesting.
I mean, I was
60% of the calories of regular Coca-Cola.
yeah,
But this is the idea of Coca-Cola
I
Life.
Still don't know what the hell stevia actually is.
it's a plant. It's a leaf.
Artificial sweetener.
You can chew it.
I
And
guess
it's sweet.
it's a natural sweetener.
Yeah.
Plant based.
People were walking around the woods. They started chewing all the leaves until they found one that tasted good.
Nice.
And stevia.
And
The
Brad,
first dozen people died, and then they finally found one that was.
Brad, if you want to get my stevia business, all you got to do is recruit 2 people, and they recruit 2 people,
Oh.
and then I'll be your upstream. So
Oh, okay.
You want to be the upstream?
That sounds promising.
Stevia.
Yeah. Okay.
I used to go backpacking in a place that had a big like peppermint grove. So it's a meadow on top of this mountain, and all the undergrowth was peppermint. So when you walked through it, it just smelled like the best smell
Ooh,
in
that
the
sounds
world.
that's awesome.
It was amazing.
I'd be way too tempted to like burn that place down just to see how good it would smell.
We would pick sprigs and chuck them on the fire at the end of the night.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Yeah.
That's probably a better idea than what I had.
I mean, rather than try to burn down the mountain, we would just,
The field that I grew up next to, the pasture
yeah.
that I used to run around in as a kid, had there were always a bunch of wild strawberries growing around the edges.
Yeah.
So you just be running around out there, and you just be eating strawberries
Yeah,
out of
that's awesome.
straight off the ground as you were going.
Our East Coast.
And we had a ton of honeysuckle around there too.
Oh,
It
you
was-
pull the
yeah.
little,
pull the thing out of the middle of the flower and
know,
suck on it.
Our stories are a little more wholesome than some of the other childhood stories that we hear on this podcast.
Yes, yes.
You
I live
know,
next to a
Jeff,
farm.
I mean, we grew up on the East Coast.
Yeah.
in the pastoral
in the
Midlands.
Yes, there were horses roaming that field that I'm talking
We
about.
had
Yeah.
horses in our
Yeah.
backyard.
Yeah, Jeff
Old sad
Jeff
dog.
seems to have had a very different upbringing out here.
He burned a bicycle somehow.
Yes, I don't want to. Let's not get into that. Let's get into the news. What do you
Okay.
say?
Who doesn't love news?
News is all right.
Always good.
Yeah, it's fun.
I wish there was some music that let us know it was news time.
Yeah, I know.
I
Damn it,
feel like-
Will.
I might just go
I
ahead
mean,
and
I
start
enjoyed
reading the
having you
headlines.
around.
Ah,
There's
there
your
we go.
music.
Let's read some news.
Sorry about that.
You could do better than that, Jason. I feel like there's a better news theme out there.
Whoa.
What?
I mean, this is the same news theme we've had forever.
You guys have a million different opening themes, right?
Not as many as you'd think. I mean, there's
You used to do like one a year, though, right?
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, I think we're overdue.
We should
Okay.
just start
But,
remixing them.
Just the ones we have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Dubstep house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
But,
ska.
Trent
Yeah, we got-
Reznor, Atticus Ross.
We got a few different styles kicking around.
Okay.
Maybe I should start.
Dreadcore.
Maybe we should start switching them up a little bit.
You need a dreadcore.
Hmm.
I don't even know what dreadcore is.
I don't even know what that sounds
I
like.
assume it's just,
We
Anyway.
were talking. I don't know who, but I guess we talked on UPF about how music people like among music it's either EDM or like metal. Those are the two people get really obsessed about genre, like how
Or like subgenres.
Subgenres.
categories.
Is it sludge? Is it is it death metal? Oh man, be ready for a fucking conversation.
Acid core. I just made that up. I don't even know.
Probably something.
When Last FM came out, we used to sit in the office and because you could just keep clicking those tags and get further and further into weird genres. And I think that the deepest we could get that there was no way out of was Norwegian folk metal.
No, I saw an album. Not to delay the news talk too much, but I saw an album last week that was called World Music, and World Music has been a label for like decades.
I assume it's like rain sticks.
It
and
always
stuff.
sounds like the most condescending fucking way to describe something. It's not from America. It must be world music.
You too. World music.
It's just the weirdest. I every time I see something called world music, I'm always like, that is the most paternalistic, condescending,
Fucking bougie.
It's not music from Africa. It's world
What does
music.
bougie mean,
Or,
Brad?
I don't know. Like
People say that. I never know what it means.
Like I think it means it would be played exclusively in an upscale coffee shop
like Paul Simon.
or something. Yeah, sure. I don't
Yeah.
know. I've never
Man.
really listened to a lot of Paul Simon.
I always assume world music is just like
I-
folk music
like-
from not the United States.
It's like 20 people. There's like a 20-person act with like 3 different drummers or something. I don't know.
And I'm not making fun of
Yeah.
the music. I'm making because it's actually some pretty good stuff out there. But I'm making fun of the fact that we have to consolidate like an entire like four continents
It's-
worth of music to be like world music.
It's like here, our stuff.
yeah, their
Everyone
stuff,
else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It always strikes me as amusing.
All right, let's read some news.
Yeah.
There's not a lot,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you what we got.
That's January.
Hey,
Yeah.
I got one.
What's that?
Super hot. There's a super hot patch coming for Oculus tomorrow.
Oh.
Or later this week.
What does that do?
More stuff, more modes, and
Oh,
like
wow.
harder modes
Okay.
and stuff like that.
I didn't know they were going to add a bunch of stuff to that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And
So
it's still just Oculus, right?
I think it's still just Oculus, but I think it works with Revive. I don't know. I haven't tried that.
Okay.
Dishonored 2 had a big patch coming out like yesterday.
Yeah, they've
Really?
been adding a bunch of stuff to that too.
What do they add to
They
that?
added
They've added a new game plus. I think they put in a new difficulty mode.
you can
and-
select missions after you complete them to go back and try again, and it'll save your progress.
without like wiping out your save from that point forward. That's good.
And they also added something called somebody on Rock Paper Shot called it the martial arts slider. Like if you're surrounded by a bunch of enemies, you can slide how many of them will attack you at once.
so
you can
you can Batman it.
It sounds like there's a lot of
interesting. That's a
or-
cool idea.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of interesting stuff. I haven't played through that game yet. I really need to get down to it. I
so
saw that
good.
mouse problem.
Yeah, people. I just we've talked about it on here a bunch. Like I didn't get super deep into Dishonored 1, so I just didn't. I didn't gravitate toward 2 because of that. But people talk so highly of it.
It is that like that game like in terms of games that onboard you with stealth and let you punch your way out of problems.
Yeah.
Like those games are right up there with like Mark of the Ninja and Last of Us.
So you're saying it's the type of game you can still have fun with after you break the stealth?
Yeah, so like if you think
Okay.
about like Last of
yeah.
Us had like there's always these stealth sequences, and I think most of them were designed for something to discover you at some point. Like there's no I don't think that I'm sure somebody did it,
Yeah.
but I don't think you're supposed to have a perfect run through Last of Us. And you can like doing a perfect run in Dishonored 1 or probably I haven't played Dishonored 2 enough to know yet, but it's easier than that. But you can still like you have enough tools at your disposal if you spec right to escape from whatever situation you're in and
Absolutely,
not have problems. Like and those levels, it has I think the best level design I've seen in games in years and years.
Wow.
Yeah, here highly.
I will back that up.
I may need to go back and check that game out. People
Yeah.
talk about it so much.
Yeah,
but-
I would be happy to help you like co-drive through
Yeah,
that
okay.
if you want. That
All right.
like that game is fucking dope.
I'll remember that.
I just played through the first one on mouse and keyboard, and this one I've had this weird mouse drift problem, so I can't play it except on a
I like
Controller,
having
I guess.
analog movement.
Yeah,
Like
for
analog movement
walking.
speed for stealth
Yes,
games, so that you
totally.
can control
Yeah.
your walking speed
I
easier.
totally agree with that. All right. Yeah, I kind of scraped the barrel for news this week to the point that I straight up cribbed this Q&A about the Switch from Kotaku
Ooh.
because there's not a lot else going on. But they went after Nintendo with a bunch of questions about the Switch directly after the event, basically.
Okay.
And got a whole bunch of like nothing to announce but at least it kind of gets you thinking about some of the stuff that may or may not be in there.
Okay.
Because they didn't flat out come out and say that they will not have it. So basically, they're asking, like, I'll just kind of read off some of the questions here. Like, they asked if there's any way to connect up your existing, like, Wii U and 3DS accounts to the Switch, and they wouldn't comment on that. They also asked about, like, existing Virtual Console purchases, or whether that will be a whole new library, how the Super NES functionality will work. They wouldn't comment.
Super NES functionality.
They're going to release like a game a month or something for free.
Oh,
it's going to be mostly old reports.
Yeah, it's going to be like if you pay for their online service,
Okay.
you're going to get one free NES or SNES game.
Did they tell which
For that
platforms are going to be emulated? Because like the Wii U didn't have, it had weird gaps for a long time about what was emulated in Wii U mode and what was emulated in Wii mode.
I don't know. They haven't gone into any
Okay.
detail on any of that stuff yet.
But I've also heard those games you get every month are only going to be playable for that month, right?
Yeah.
I heard
Yes,
that's
you only get
weird.
those 8 or 16-bit games are only playable for that month. But they're adding online features to those things. So I think they were trying to
Like leaderboards and stuff?
yeah, that's the thing. They haven't really come out and said what that is going to be.
Like if they had
I'm assuming
leaderboards, I
multiplayer,
might
maybe.
be okay buying some of those again.
Everybody's
Yeah.
Super Mario score is going to be 9,999,999.
I don't know. Like I said it last week. I feel like most of the games they might put on a service like that, I could probably get my fill of in a month, though.
I mean, that's, yeah, like I'll play Wrecking Crew once a year for
Yeah.
a month.
Yeah.
It'd
Don't
be totally
excuse
fine.
them rolling back. I mean, the PlayStation Plus stuff you get as long as it's described. There's
Yeah.
there's no
It's,
reason
it's
to go
not as
back from
good.
that.
It's not as
Yeah.
good as the other services for sure.
Well, and
but
like,
I'm saying I probably
yeah.
wouldn't pony up for those games after I already had them for a month because that's probably enough for me.
yeah, if you look at the PlayStation Plus games that I've played, and Xbox Gold games that I've played for more than a month, it's like Rocket League and probably Braid and
Yeah.
Fez and like
Sam, I-
4 other things.
It's not a lot.
It's still like they're rolling back what the other competitors have for no good reason, as far as I can tell, which is dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hey, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah. They ran a bunch of questions by him about the internal storage. It's got 32 gig, which is kind of not much.
No.
But you can put an SD card in it.
But it
right?
has a micro
Or
SD card slot, and apparently they support what is it, the SDXC standard, which
up to
goes
256 gigs.
it goes up to 2 terabytes.
But I mean, I think you can only buy them up to
Yes.
500
On a micro
megabytes or
SD?
something now.
Nintendo flat out said. Nintendo flat out said, no, 2 terabyte cards are not yet on the market, but Switch will support them when they are.
That's a refreshing change because like the 3DS original only supported up to 32 gigs or something like tiny,
Yeah.
which was old at the time that thing came out.
So storage should not be a problem on that thing. They mention they don't have support for external USB hard drives at launch, but they are talking about potentially supporting them in the future.
So
because the dock
It
has
has a USB port.
extra
Which
USB ports.
USB A
It
or
has
C
extra
or what?
ones?
I believe that's the case. Yeah,
Huh. Okay.
I can't imagine they would do C because it's Nintendo.
it's the connector in the dock is C.
Oh, really?
The connector on the Switch is C, like that you plug
Huh.
into the dock, but the ports on the outside of the dock, I don't know.
That new
Or
Microsoft
port.
Surface, the like $4,000 computer with a huge monitor,
yeah.
apparently doesn't have any C connectors, and everybody's
Yikes.
a little pissed about it.
It doesn't have any C connectors.
So that's what I heard. I read a review. I think Ars Technica said it didn't have any.
They also point out, I mean, this isn't going to matter for most people, but we will have to worry about it. All save data and like personal data and account stuff is going to live on the Switch.
Oh,
So even
So
if you're
there's no
buying,
cloud sync or anything.
well, no, they didn't mention that actually, but this was more about like if you buy game cards as
Yeah.
opposed to everything digital. None of those save games will be on the game cards.
Oh, that's good.
that's
Yeah.
well, but it's the old GameSpot days of people lugging Xboxes home and
Yeah.
back to get.
Yeah, but the
bring
Switch is
save.
pretty small.
It's
Switch is pretty
iPad
small.
size thing.
It's
right?
still just
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
It's still just amusing.
So-
I just remember the old GameSpot days of people lugging
Yes.
huge consoles
Yes.
back and forth, hard drives failing because they're being moved around so much.
I remember doing Xbox One reviews for OXM and like having to carry debugs back and forth to that was pain. But like I assume that you'll be able to just take that thing and put it in any dock. And
Yeah,
it'll
I think
just
that's the
work, right?
idea. Like
Yeah.
if we're going to capture stuff we've played at home, we'll just bring a Switch in
Yeah,
and stick it in the dock.
I'm
here.
not saying it's any kind of huge inconvenience. Those things are going to be
No,
very
but
portable
it's good to know.
It's just interesting.
Little details like that. There will not be any games built into the Switch at all, and like even in the interface, like even
no pack in.
well, not only no
No
pack in,
pack-in.
but
They've
sounds
had,
like
little tiny things on
yeah,
the
yeah.
OS.
It sounds like
Oh.
nothing even on the level of like the Street Pass stuff on the 3DS. Like,
Oh, bummer.
Throwing bowling. Just put bowling.
yeah.
in.
They've already said there won't be a Miiverse. You will be able to make Miis on this thing and also port them over from the previous systems with like amiibos and stuff.
But there's
QR
no
code.
Miiverse.
But there's no Miiverse. It sounds like
Street Pass stuff or
no,
anything
they all
with them?
they flat out said no Street Pass style
bummer.
stuff. Yeah, that's a real shame.
I'm
Although,
glad-
like we mentioned it last week, like the battery life on that thing, you would not want to walk around with it in standby.
but in standby it'll be like standby versus screen on is on a phone.
Yeah,
is
maybe
3 days versus 2 hours
Well,
or
sure.
4 hours.
Well, they're not doing it, sadly. So
Bummer.
it sounds like what you would use a me for on this thing, you can also just use like a profile picture.
Can you do amiibos on this?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's got
so,
NFC.
So they'll keep having amiibo games,
Yes.
presumably.
Yes.
That's
So yeah, you can bring your old Miis over if you want, but you totally don't have to have a Mii from the sound of it. So those are not really going to be a big thing.
Okay.
What else did they talk about? No video streaming services at launch.
But it has the capability to do it eventually. Like, does it have encoding hardware?
Support for video streaming services is being considered for a future update.
Wow.
So,
Well, I mean, the Tegra stuff, or Tigra, however
Yeah.
you're supposed to pronounce it, it has H.264 encode, so
Okay.
it shouldn't be a problem.
okay, so they should technically be able to do it.
Assuming like they can do it and have the thing not overheat.
Maybe they just didn't go out and make any of those deals.
Yeah.
Prior
Does
to launch?
the dock have cooling?
Not that
I
I'm
don't
aware
think
of.
so. I think it's a slab of plastic. Like,
Really?
Yeah. It
I
just
think it-
Yeah,
serves
people
as like an
seem to think
extension.
it's just a
Huh.
I think
couple.
I heard
it's
that
just
has
ports and
a
a
vent though, and maybe some
the
air
Switch
circulation.
does.
You're right.
Yeah.
Switch itself
Oh.
has a vent,
Okay.
but not.
Okay.
I don't think the dock does any of that stuff.
Huh. Interesting.
Not like one of those crazy. You've seen those new laptops that have like water cooling built into the dock that they dock to. Have
Oh,
you seen
yeah.
those?
Whoa.
Oh,
It's a laptop, and they have a water cooling station with like the video card inside of it. So you port it
Oh,
in.
wow.
It goes weird. Then it starts circulating water through a vent that goes underneath the laptop.
Huh.
Some of these things are getting fucking insane.
wow.
Well, if you
that's
want
crazy.
a really loud laptop, get a gaming laptop. They're great.
Yeah. So I hear. And then the only other thing was they asked about region free stuff on the store. Like they've said, they said the cartridges are region free,
Sure.
so you can import those. They gave kind of the corporate answer of like, we recommend you buy digital games from the store of your region, but they are saying you can have up to 8 accounts on an individual.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Uh,
good.
For the Mormons.
Yeah, up to 8 user accounts can be created on a single Nintendo Switch system. So like,
So I can have an account for my kid and my wife.
yeah. But also it sounds like worst case scenario, you could make a Japanese account and buy stuff from the Japanese store if
So-
you wanted to.
Have they talked about how DRM and stuff will work? So that like if I buy a game and my wife logs into her account,
Yeah.
it's on the Switch, will she be able to play it?
That's a big question because they've always handled DRM like physically, right? Like it was always the games were just tied to the thing you bought them on in the past.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going that route again or not. They haven't come out and
Yeah, so
talked
like,
about
like
that.
on the Wii U, anything I buy is accessible to either of the other two accounts.
right. But you can't go download it easily on another Wii U. That's the thing.
I don't think that's ever
So-
been an option.
No, yeah. So I don't know if they're going to go that route again or not, but we will see
Speaking of Wii U,
pretty
though,
soon.
pretty sure they announced that Zelda will be the last first-party Wii U game ever.
Did
made.
they say that?
I think I
I
read
think
it.
there's
Read on another site.
That's not terribly surprising.
Yeah, it's not surprising at all, but I believe that's what they have.
Have they made an official announcement for the Wii U version of Zelda?
In terms of what?
Like when it's coming out
I don't-
on Wii U?
I don't know if they have or not.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's definitely a Switch launch game, so that'll be
Yes.
March 2nd. But
third.
is it third?
Wii U Zelda Breath of the Wind.
Thank you.
Breath of the
Rory.
Wild. Oh, you're right. It is the third.
Breath of the Wind, Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, whatever.
What's the BOTWA? Is the abbreviation? That's
Sure.
a terrible one.
Yeah, that works.
LTTP.
Google says it's also coming out on the Wii U on the third.
Yeah.
Really?
If that information is to be believed.
Do you guys think this is going to be one of those situations where the Wii U version is the one to get?
No, I think they came out and said it would be a little better on the Switch,
Okay.
like graphically.
I mean, but I'm thinking about control. Like, yeah. I mean, I guess I can
I don't
lay in
know.
bed and play it on the Switch. So
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
an improvement,
Well,
right?
I preferred playing Twilight Princess on the GameCube rather than
right,
Well,
like
that
the
was a
Twilight
different
Princess was
situation.
clearly better on the game.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of motion controls or any in this, so I don't think that's a concern. But the E3 demo that I played on Wii U had some gamepad screen specific like inventory management stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're into that,
Okay.
like
No,
if you
I'm
want
okay.
if you want a 2-screen thing where you're doing
No,
okay,
no, I'm cool.
I think that might be the big advantage on the Wii U there.
I bought one of those. I was on Amazon when they had Switches in stock, so I bought one just kind of out of a habit, and I'm looking at what's going to be available until Mario comes out at Christmas, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I should cancel that and wait.
Unless you want to play. If you need to play Zelda at launch, great. Other than that,
Yeah.
it looks like there's going to be a big gap.
If Zelda is literally the only thing you want to play until the holiday,
Yeah,
until whenever, I think that's holidays what they said for Mario, right?
yeah.
Maybe stick with the Wii U. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I
hard to
don't
say. That lineup is
We'll know more. We'll know more when we start getting our hands on it, I suppose.
Yeah.
It did look like a light lineup.
Lineup's a little thin.
Yeah, I haven't owned a Nintendo since the GameCube, so I'm definitely gonna hold off on this one to see if anything huge pops up.
See how it shakes up. Yep.
Yeah.
Continuing to scrape the news barrel. Do you guys care what Gabe Newell has to say?
Always.
I mean, he did an AMA, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did an AMA on Reddit and answered like not a lot of questions.
He's forthright. I mean,
But yeah.
he's generally honest when people ask him. I mean, he's not going to talk about Half-Life. Obviously, he didn't.
You mean Half-Life 3?
Were there any coded messages in there? Like any?
He
like
He just
free-
said, yeah, they're working on a single player full fledged game. Is what he said.
He kind of said more than I would have expected.
And
about
he
that
said
stuff.
there is definitely still something to be said in that Portal Half-Life universe.
Like literally the question was any chance of a new IP that takes place in the Half-Life / Portal universe? I feel like there's a lot of story left to be explored there. The answer, yep.
Yes, there's a chance this could be. For all we fucking know. So the fact that he said
stringing us along.
they're working on a full-fledged single-player game is the thing that I enjoyed. Unless it's some VR bullshit. I don't know.
But then there was a
It's
follow-up.
almost certainly VR bullshit.
Oh, you
right?
think?
Well, I mean, look, I am a big fan of VR bullshit.
Sure.
Speaking from a place of great bias.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean, he said. I thought he also said that they were working on a full VR game, right?
He did say they're working on their own VR titles.
Yeah.
I believe, if I recall correctly.
You mean in that universe or just at all?
No.
just-
Like
just
in
at all.
that AMA, he said we're working on a full VR game.
I believe I remember that too.
I think you might be right. I didn't see that one.
I know you guys
But,
hate VR here, so
I don't hate it, but it's
VR
I don't want to
haters
play
club.
Half-Life. I mean, Half-Life 3.
at this point.
I don't know. I doubt that game will ever come out. I've been a true believer in that game for a long time.
At this point, if a new Half-Life game came out and it was only playable on VR, I would say that would not be a popular move.
The Half-Life game that's going to come out is going to be it's just going to be a shooting gallery that's that last terrible sequence from episode 2 where you have to shoot the footballs
Terrible?
onto the back of the Striders. Yeah, that part. that
From
sucked.
episode 2. I was thinking
episode
about from
2.
the end of regular
No, the end of
Half-Life 2.
regular Half-Life 2 was badass.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But somebody, Eurogamer or some, there's another website that did a big long article about Half-Life 3 trying to track down people and said nobody ever talked about it. It's been like 2 years. And eventually found one person who said there's like a lack of will to do it with inside Valve. Like they don't think it would be successful. It's just, I forget the exact quote, but it
Yeah,
was,
I don't know. I mean, somebody asked him and he responded.
God, I can't believe we're talking about this. But they,
I know.
they're not going to look at when they released Half-Life 1. They had something to do. Like they changed the way storytelling and first-person shooters worked.
Yep.
Half-Life 2, they introduced physics to those same kind of games.
Yep.
They're not going to do something with 3 until there's a reason.
Until they have a new
Until
thing.
they have a new thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Half-Life
or an incredibly compelling story to tell.
Half-Life is the perfect vehicle for them. If they have some insane new feature that nobody's ever done before, that'll be the thing that they put
I
out.
mean, I feel looking back at Half-Life 2, like when Half-Life 2, I expected great things out of it, but the amount of sheer like ingenuity, not even beyond the gravity gun, but like a lot of the stuff they built in that game, the physics stuff, a lot of the mechanics and stuff like that were just super groundbreaking. Even to the point you go back and play it again, like why aren't there gravity guns in every fucking game? Because they're amazing.
Yeah,
it's an impressive thing.
Well,
So
and like those
5R.
ramp puzzles and the floating puzzles and like the way they use materials engines and physics together was a completely new thing. It was really exciting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, like look, I would love to see another Left 4 Dead. I'd love to see another Portal. I'd love to see another Half-Life. But I want them to be like, if they're not excited about making them, then they shouldn't make them.
Yeah, like just more of that is not necessarily
Yeah.
enough at this point.
Yeah, with Mark Laidlaw left, I know, and he was they're big. I know Eric Wolpaw is another one of their big.
Wolpaw's doing Psychonauts right now, so who
Yeah,
knows,
so
like, what,
it seems like who there is invested in single player narratives.
who would write a Half-Life story
Yeah.
at this point. He says the J.J. Abrams Half-Life project is still coming.
The movie thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that sounds cool.
he says, or maybe 2 movies.
I can't see. I mean, Abrams is fine, but a Half-Life movie would just be. I don't know. Do we need to see like fucking Marky Mark running around with a crowbar?
That would be amazing.
Well, the question on Reddit refers to it as like the Half-Life Portal universe. So it may not exactly be a Half-Life movie, but something in that vein.
He really said that they were going to do 1 or 2 movies.
Yeah.
Can't count to 3, can they?
Do you want me to just read the Half-Life 3 question?
Yeah, please.
Somebody said, what is the status of Half-Life 3 / Half-Life 2 Episode 3? Is Valve still working on any fully fledged single-player games? An unidentified anonymous source at Valve has said that Half-Life 3 has been canceled. Is that source legitimate? The answer was the number 3 must not be said. Yes, I personally believe all unidentified anonymous sources on the internet. So
He's cheeky.
all you're getting on that one.
I just think of, I know the subject has been beaten to death over the last decade or so. But Valve seems like it has a lot of amazing talent, and the what they do there in that black box where they're just making hats. The joke is that they make hats, and they're setting up Steam, and I know Steam is a big part of the hugest part of their business plan now. But like the idea of them taking so much talent, like all the people who made Portal. Just what are they doing?
Well, they're making Dota and Counter-Strike Go and the lab stuff like that. Yeah.
So by far the longest answer, I won't read the whole thing, but you can go read this AMA on Reddit if you want to see everything he said. But by far the biggest answer he gave was to that. Like basically
Steam support is a big thing that they're working on. I know.
Somebody kind of politely asked, like, hey, why don't you guys communicate more with your fan base? Like, why don't you tell us what you're working on more?
And he said that, stuff in there gets so much closer to launch before they cancel it because they have that luxury. Like other places will announce early and cancel and disappoint people. And you're just like, we keep it down. Yeah, locked down.
He, like the answer basically amounted to the way he put it was we prefer to communicate through our products.
Which is that's admirable.
Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly what he said. He's like, we're making decisions all the time to kill off stuff that we've put a lot of work into, and I think the gist of it, from what I got from it, was like they only put out stuff that they feel fully confident in.
Sure. Can you imagine a Lost Levels like a
just
like the secret weapons of Valve software,
like 20
years, just like a bunch of
other
prototypes and shit that you
experiments
can go dick around with.
20 years from now, somebody needs to write the book of like, here's everything that Valve almost finished and then canceled that you never heard of. Like, here's every game we almost made.
When I went to Obsidian, I read through this whole folder of pitches, like stuff they had tried to get published, and it was really interesting shit. Well, that's I'm assuming every developer has something like that where they have like a few terabytes worth of stuff that didn't quite come to fruition.
But I'm sure there's like an order of magnitude more of that at Valve.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things that what do you call it? The Psychonauts people, Double Fine does is that they release those Amnesia. Like if you back their Kickstarter or their Humble thing, you can get their Amnesia Fortnite prototypes and dick around with them and see what like those things actually look like in the real world. Yeah, which is like. It's real behind the curtain and awesome. I think it's good for everybody to know what that stuff looks like because early prototypes are never good.
Yeah.
They might be interesting and they might be neat, but they're never like games.
It's not something you want to play.
No.
Well, it's something you want to noodle with and see how the sausage is made.
You'd be like, yeah, that's cool for 10 minutes. And then you're done.
There are different opinions. Like Nabokov wrote up, or somebody asked Nabokov once about sharing drafts of his novels, and he was like, before they're done, like, no, it's like sharing my spit. It's like literally what he said. It's sputum. And some people feel really, strongly about. There are a lot of like early access and Kickstarter stuff where you get to see the meat
Early
that goes
builds,
in the soup, but a lot of times early access games when I play them and they're rough put me off of even playing the final one later on. So I totally see their opinion.
Yeah, like everything, there's a right way to do that stuff and a wrong way to do that stuff. So
I prefer to think of Shades of Grey.
No, it's 100%. Look, you're either right or you're wrong, Rory. That's how it is, man.
No, I'm always thinking of 50 Shades of Grey in my head. That's what I meant.
Well.
The other, this is pretty abstract, but people asked him kind of like, what is the direction the company's going in? Like, what are you guys actually focusing on? Where do you see Valve going? And he talked a lot about hardware. He mentioned, I was going to ask you about this earlier, the Knuckle VR controllers they're working on.
Yeah, they showed them at Steam Dev Days last year. Yeah. But I didn't get to go. I could have gone, but I chose not to.
It seems like their answer to Oculus Touch, kind of.
Yeah. So it's basically it's all the same buttons and stuff that are on the Vive wands now, but there's a pad that kind of rests in the center of your hand, like almost like a repulsor. It looks like an Iron Man repulsor or something.
Spider-Man thing.
Yeah, so you can touch it with your fingers and stuff, I think, or with your thumb maybe. Yeah. And then there's across the top of the knuckles, there's the rigid. Because the way the Vive works, you need a rigid. You need the sensors to be in a rigid configuration. Okay. Because like if they wiggle, then the time to flight stuff doesn't work and it doesn't get an accurate position of where your hand is. I see. The stuff across the back is all rigid, and like there's a wristband that gives it them 360 coverage with no obstructions theoretically. Yeah. And you don't have to hold something, so it's just like attached to your hand, which is interesting.
Okay.
The thing that they announced at CES they announced two things at CES that I'm really excited about. One is the rigid head strap for the Vive.
Yeah.
So you can just pop the cloth one off and you get something that's more like, it looks like somewhere between the PSVR and the Oculus.
Okay.
Where it's like a more rigid design to kind of carry that weight a little bit better.
I think I came to prefer that on the PSVR over the cloth stuff.
Yeah, the Rift is the same. They're both, it has a soft top.
They're a little squishy.
Yeah, but it like once you get it, it's just like snaps onto place and it's real easy to put on and off.
Yeah.
And then they also announced a standalone tracker that you can attach to other things, like a baseball bat or a gun, whatever you want.
Okay.
That stuff's really interesting. And then he also said, he also announced some hardware stuff as part of this, didn't he?
The AMA. So yeah, that was part of this answer too. Like that's the thing. I'm kind of like I'm coming to see Valve as like almost like this big R&D company now. Like they're doing a ton of just weird pie in the sky experimental stuff, and then maybe a little like 10% of it will actually make it to market or something.
Or we'll ever even hear about.
Or well, yeah, because he mentioned. Like he basically said, the big thing right now is broadening the range of options we have in creating experiences. We think investing in hardware will give us those options. So he mentioned the knuckle controllers. He said there's a lot of AI work going on there right now. Personally, I'm looking at research in brain-computer interfaces. So like, they're out there.
Right.
They're out in weird left field territory. Yeah, totally. They're looking at some weird stuff.
And he announced that there are going to be other companies making Steam VR hardware, other than just HTC.
Yeah.
So we'll see some new headset designs and controllers hopefully before too long.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I think, and hopefully that'll make some price competition happen too. But they're like, it seems to me like I know Chet Falasek is on like going around a bunch of indie studios right now, and he's been tweeting about it. And he says like he said something this morning that was really profound as somebody who's struggled with this for the last year, is that when you're a small indie dev, it's easy to get too focused on tools and not focused enough on the stuff that comes out of the tools. And there's an XKCD about this too, like the price of automation versus just doing it manually. And like figuring out where the sweet spot on that stuff is. It wouldn't surprise me if they like they're I guess what I'm trying to say is Valve is in the business of pushing the industry forward in ways that they think is healthy and good for the industry, and that because the industry in a lot of ways is Valve, in that they're distributing all the PC games.
Yeah.
Like pushing the industry forward also pushes Valve forward, so they can afford to make some really out there. Like if they started making game development tools, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean,
Because
he mentioned Source 2 in this thing, and they let people use that for free now.
Yeah,
Like they're in that business of facilitating people doing stuff.
yeah,
Because they got the cash to do it.
yeah. If you make something awesome and sell it through Steam, then that's great for them. Whether they make money off of the thing that's awesome, the tools that you use to make that or not, they don't care.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's nice that we have kind of software hippies out there doing that shit, because Google's not going to do that.
Right. But at the same time, like, I gave up on them putting out like Half-Life style games years ago. Like if it happens, that'll be cool, but I'm not expecting it at this point.
I mean, they'll do an E3 and just like,
it's a good way
available
to be,
now.
Yeah,
Half-Life
hopefully, but yeah, like
Right.
it's a good way to be let down if you're just
that would be
expecting
amazing.
them to do what they were doing 15 years ago.
Vive owners can download it today.
Yep.
Hats.
That's-
Brad Mear's up there. He's got to be
Also
making
hats.
Trench too, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But they also talked a little bit about Steam support, which is always a bugbear for people who have ever had I bought a game that didn't work. They added refunds. They say they have 5 times as many support people, and the joke was now they have 5 support people. But I've never had to even talk to Steam support people, but apparently they've been focusing a lot on making that more. If our emails or anything to judge by our support emails, like I can only imagine the depths of what Steam gets. Just be.
I mean, the scale of that thing is
The scale and also the quality. Like there's somebody. I got an email this weekend like, "Who are you and why are you contacting me? Let me know or I will refer you to my lawyers." And I'm like,
That was the entirety of the email.
There's no body to it. You don't have an account on our site. There's a lot of people do this where they. I can read you some shit where they just. I bought Lynx 12 on 1994 and it no longer works on Windows 10. Please help me. And like, yeah. And I think probably what a lot of people get, I'm assuming Steam support gets a lot of technical questions about games that they don't publish. And they're like basically like, hey, talk to the publisher.
Well,
I'm sure they have that streamlined at this point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pretty
radial menus and like auto responses and everything. But it was interesting to see that they're investing a lot. Because Steam has been the de facto PC marketplace for games for over a decade now, and for them to have had such a bad reputation for support for so long, it's interesting to see that now. I don't know what the refund thing they didn't have to do. They did not. There was no.
Well, they were pushing they're trying to push the industry, right?
Yeah. Well, Australia and Europe, I think you have to offer some kind of refunds, but in America, there's actually probably costs them money to even offer that in the program. Or anything like that.
Think about like this. The number of languages they have people sending support questions. Like we mostly deal with just English speaking countries and Scandinavia, but I mean, fuck man, they have Yeah, it's
13,
it's
15,
terrifying.
more than that. But
More than that, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So their support, I mean, I'm assuming they probably have their own call center somewhere. And I don't know if they even take calls, but they must have a substantial number of people working on it.
Look,
but-
that's why Gabe's working on machine
Yeah.
human interface.
Hello,
So
I am
good.
IBM Watson. What is your problem?
No, you just jack in, and one person has use all 100% of your brain. And one person does all the support.
Lucy,
There you go.
Lucy,
Yeah.
just call her Lucy.
Exactly.
I don't know. That AMA was interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't just him; it was a bunch of people in a room. I know he said that, but it's always interesting to see that kind of stuff go on.
Yeah, nice little peek behind the curtain with Valve.
Not enough knife talk.
Yes, never enough. The Fire Emblem mobile game got announced.
What?
If you guys
Yeah.
care, Fire Emblem Heroes, which is about the most mobile-ass name you could.
It's
give
coming to
it.
3DS later, though, right?
Is it? No, I don't think so.
I know it's iOS and Android, but I could have sworn it was like going to head to a home console.
That's not what I.
Is this one
understood.
on iOS first again, or is
No,
it
it's both.
simultaneous?
Both at the same time.
Both
Okay.
at the same time.
Both on next Thursday.
Wow.
Next the February the 2nd.
Does it have Marth?
There's got to be some Marth in there.
I mean, I only know Marth because of Smash Brothers.
The screenshot has Marth in it, so yes, it does.
Fuck yeah.
I see it. Yep.
Marth.
Fills in.
I never know how to play Marth in Smash Brothers, but
what's-
maybe if I play some Fire Emblem, I'll learn.
What's the gameplay like?
It looks like Fire Emblem, but it seems very much condensed and kind of formatted for phone screen.
Look, it's turn-based,
It's,
right?
it
Fire
is
Emblem?
still turn-based. You still got a battlefield, but
It's a lot of anime avatars, man. Making me uneasy.
so the maps are only 8x6 squares, is my understanding. They basically the maps fit on a single phone screen. You're not going to be scrolling around. They look
Okay.
very bite size.
Sure.
That would seem to limit your tactical
But
options.
it does seem like a Fire Emblem game from what they're showing. Like they haven't given a ton of details, but
Free download, free to play.
Really?
I'm really curious about
Free
that.
to start or free to play?
It says
yes, it is
free
it is-
download.
It is a free download, and they said they didn't go into a ton of detail, but it sounds like there will be in-app purchases around heroes, and
Oh, so like you can unlock additional heroes by, or is it
That
like
seems
if
like
somebody dies,
a
then you can pay
dangerous slope.
$2 to bring them
man,
back?
a game with
Because-
permadeath, like paying to bring back people.
That
Oof.
seems like
Yeah.
a dangerous way to go. Like if
maybe.
the purchasable heroes are noticeably more powerful, like that kind of stuff could get
Yeah.
really dangerous.
Is this going to have an end?
mean, it's
Is it a
not-
story
I don't know.
game?
Yeah, so it's got a ton of modes in it. It's got story maps, training tower, arena duels, hero battles. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff, but there is a
Arena
story.
duels. Are there emotes? Can you like make a thumbs up
Oh no!
when you beat somebody in the arena duel?
Let's not go there. Let's just not.
Everybody loves that, right? That's a good mechanic. People should do that in everything.
But they come out and say like it's going to have the basic mechanics you expect from a Fire Emblem, same like weapon.
This is part of
Systems and stuff like that.
Nintendo mobile partnership with whoever. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, they don't
DNA?
They don't mention DNA in here, but I think I think they were building more of the back end account type stuff.
I saw a Sprint store have one of those big Pokestop things. Are people still playing Pokemon Go? Because I
My
do
wife
not
still plays.
hear about that at all
Yeah, I mean,
anymore.
I think the big
They
site-
had that one update where they took away the step markers or something, and it felt like after that, like it just kind of I don't hear any social media was like ruled by that game for 2 months, and then it just
They changed the speed limit at some point so that you couldn't do it while you're like in the bus or on the subway or something.
well,
and that
for driving, but yeah, it affected people on
fucked everybody
trains,
else
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got a Pikachu with a Santa hat at the zoo one day, so that was pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's weird. I
They
mean,
added a bunch of Pokemon over in December sometimes, so it's like second wave Pokemon or something.
it was just interesting. Like that game was everywhere, saturated, like news reports on it, and then all of a sudden,
genuine
like
like phenomenon.
just nothing.
Well, part of it was that for me at least was that they changed the distribution of your pocket monsters so that if you lived outside of a city, you were never going to get anything but fucking Spearows.
Yeah, I heard a lot of those complaints.
and Ratatats and Weedles and garbage Pokemon.
Out there in the sticks.
Yeah, well, I live 18 minutes from the city.
Oh,
I thought you don't-
18 minutes.
How many
You're not down
Weedles
in
you
the
got?
in the
In
Sunset
Pacifica.
anymore? Okay,
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
that's cheap.
All right, that's all I got for news. Like I said, pretty slow week.
Super hot.
Stuff start popping off here again pretty soon with the Switch coming out.
Yeah,
That's
and we were talking about
soon.
how I don't know. I'm curious. Like it has been a slow month, but there's been some good stuff coming out.
Yes.
Oscar nominations today.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Yay.
saw that too.
I don't know that I've watched a movie since the last Oscars.
Yeah, I saw.
I don't
think
know
saw,
that I've watched anything that came out since last year's Oscars.
I saw
Like,
a
just
Star Wars in the
could not-
theater. I think I saw 2 movies in the theater all last
I
year.
never even managed to get to that. Like
I watched Sully last night. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty good. Like I wasn't surprised. Like a biopic kind of stuff, but it's actually
Yeah.
well made. Like Clint Eastwood always does interesting stuff.
Kind of hoping it was going to be a prequel to Castaway.
But
That'd
no,
be pretty good.
La La Land and I think Arrival are two of the big like
La La
nomination
Land's pretty
stuff.
good.
I need to see Arrival.
Rival's interesting.
Haven't seen La La Land.
I heard Arrival was good. I
Everybody
thought
should
about it.
like Arrival's worth watching.
Yeah, no, that's what
Kubo,
front to back. Kubo, I like.
Kubo and the Two Strings. Is
Oh,
fucking
man.
great.
It
Wow,
looks great.
yeah.
I like it went some dark places for like a kids movie.
Oh.
But some of the behind the
Yeah.
scenes stuff, like the way they made all the motion capture or stop motion stuff, is like that's crash and ship
Yeah, like
to a degree that I can't even.
I'm good at telling how that stuff worked, like watching it and seeing how it works, and I couldn't see where the digital stuff stopped and the real stuff stopped. It's incredible that movie.
Good voice work too.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't take your kids to it though, and don't take your like 5-year-old to.
Yeah, maybe not.
Good advice.
Take them to Arrival instead.
Yeah, passengers.
Yo,
You ready
I am.
for the emails? Yay!
emails.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com. That's where the emails go. First one comes in from Kurt.
What's up, Kurt?
Kurt says, one thing that kept coming up in your initial PlayStation VR coverage was the drift or wobble that would happen due to the headset tracking not really being precise. Now that it's been out for a few months, have you guys noticed any improvement? Have there been any firmware updates that help? Do you even still have your PSVR hooked up?
I hooked mine back up the other day.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Jeff has had our PSVR for a while. I haven't gotten to try it pretty much since launch.
Yeah,
but
he's kind of the guy to ask on
I
that.
have to get him to bring that thing in here at some point. But have you used it recently?
So I set it back up. So I took when I got the Pro, I had moved it into the living room so that we could people could play PSVR games over the holidays when they came over, and then nobody when people were over Thanksgiving and stuff, we never kind of got around to it.
Yeah. VR is kind of maybe not the most social thing to do at a social
I don't
gathering.
know.
Watching people in
It's
VR.
fun. Yeah,
I
it's
think
fun.
is-
But,
we ran
you know.
people through VR.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we ended up putting them in the Vive though, because
Yes.
like why would you? Yeah. My room was never bad, so it's hard for me to
Okay,
say.
you never really had those problems.
No, the only problem I have is that the Z tracking on the Move
Yeah.
controllers is hinky at best.
That seemed to be like the biggest problem, and
Yeah.
I haven't really heard definitively one way or another.
I don't know.
That was
Like,
another thing where they advertised that heavily when it came out. I haven't really heard of anything on PSVR. I guess Resident Evil is like the next big one. But
They've had a pretty solid release. Like they released a Rogue One, or they released a Death Star, like the Death Star DLC for Battlefront.
Was that really short little mission?
It has a VR mission where you're in an X-wing that I keep meaning to play and keep forgetting that I have when I have the headset on.
I heard that thing's cool. That's the thing they announced at E3 last year, right?
think
the
so,
thing
yeah.
that like ILM was working on, I think. Or
No,
was
that's
that
the
EA?
Trials of Tatooine.
Oh, EA did this one.
This
Or
one
Dice did it,
This
right?
one is
Yes,
Dice. It's
right.
it is. I think you have to have the Death Star DLC for Battlefront to
Okay.
play it, or maybe free. I can't remember.
Okay,
But I bought a copy of Battlefront for the PlayStation so I could play it.
just to, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was on sale at the holidays for like $10 or something. So
Yeah.
it wasn't a big deal. But
Yeah.
what's your opinion on the comfort level? Because I've heard like, PSVR is the most comfortable headset of them all from a lot of different people.
I think it's if your Rift is set up right, the Rift is unbelievably comfortable.
Sure.
Like to the point that I can sit on the desk and use the virtual desktop stuff and wear it for hours on end. I think that the PSVR is definitely the easiest to like get people in and out of. Like if you have people over and you want to do some VR shit, I'm probably going to go with the PlayStation just because like adjusting it and getting it on and getting it comfortable, all that, it takes like 3 seconds versus Velcro and stuff. And like from a VR sickness comfort standpoint, it's pretty good for most. Like the only places I've had trouble with that are in like the Batman thing when the frame rate got kind of hinky. I haven't tried that since I got the Pro.
Neat.
But yeah, like it's good. Like I like that headset a lot. I hope that they release more controllers with like more lights so that they can have better tracking on than just the Move controllers offer.
Apparently, they just put out a Deus Ex VR experience like on the last couple of days.
Oh, on the
I don't know if it's
PlayStation?
PlayStation. I think it might only be Steam. At
Oh,
this
I wonder
point.
if that's the thing that Jeff played last year at like an event.
I hear it's just like you walk through a couple rooms
Yes.
and get to
Yeah,
get to
that
look at
sounds like
stuff.
he saw
awesome.
that at some E3 event
Sounded
last
like
year.
it was not super well formed.
Yeah.
I mean, those environments are interesting. I wouldn't mind exploring them.
What I heard is like it's like 7 rooms in a row, and you can't actually shoot anything. And there's nothing to do except for like one. So
So many experiences.
that's what I heard.
to
I
be
haven't played
had.
it, so you know.
Experiences.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try it on UPF or something.
Yeah,
They're-
nobody
they're
wants
hot.
experience.
They're
Wait,
hot right now.
wait. Yeah.
Adam writes in from Houston. Jason, you probably want to field this one.
Okay.
Is the new Marvel vs. Capcom called Infinite because it's going to be a subscription service game or a season-based game?
Unlimited Marvel.
Yeah, with the presumable help.
Infinite Marvel.
Yes. With the presumable help from Marvel, perhaps they'll do a better job with this than Street Fighter V. There's no shortage of characters between the two companies, so why not release one each week or something?
Oh man, that'd be a workload.
Wow. Yeah, that sucks for those guys.
The two could have a theme or at least something in common. This could go on forever. Infinite is a long time.
It totally is. I mean, I don't think they could do like that kind of rigid release schedule.
Yeah, obviously,
not,
what
not
he's
in a
suggesting
fighting
is
game. If it
kind of
was like
insane.
a top-down kind of fucking what the fuck am I thinking of? What's the Alliance, Ultimate Alliance?
Yeah.
It was something like that.
Or
Yes.
Heroes.
Obviously-
I'd love to see
Right.
that shit pretty quick.
Yeah, obviously, once a week is nuts. Like that would
Yeah,
never happen.
that
But
would-
like
that would be a lot
once a
dead.
month, is what they tried to do with Street Fighter V and didn't quite get there. But
yeah,
like,
sometimes.
but you know, it's like the overall idea maybe has some merit because they did prop up Street Fighter V as like a platform that they will be adding to for years. So
I think it would be super interesting.
If-
Marvel, as a fighting game, has always been super interesting to watch because that game is broken on so many levels, like in a competitive sense. You know, I've always likened it to like the fucking Wild West, where like it's fucking lawless.
Yeah.
Everybody's got big guns. Everybody can fucking do anything. And you've seen some really, really interesting tech come out of that. Interesting ways to like, game the engine, as it were.
sure.
And if they continually update it with a new character, man, it changes the fucking game drastically.
Is it MCU only, or is it are there going to be mutants and stuff?
I don't.
I think they have
I
all
want
the,
to,
they have the full
everything
license,
that they've
But they-
announced, I think thus far has been like, Avengers based.
Okay.
So
I don't-
like X-Men, not
No Wolverine?
so much.
Yeah.
Marvel
No
as a
Wolvie,
company
but-
though got away from even doing any X-Men stuff because
Yeah.
they didn't own the
Well,
movie
right.
license.
Yeah,
they were like,
because,
why
yeah.
are we going to spend money? Which is basically
promoting
their
Fox's
comics are
movies,
already
yeah.
basically advertisements for their movies.
Yeah.
So they actually pulled back. I think they stopped doing monthly X-Men stuff for a while. I think it's back, but
Yeah, I don't think they flat out came out and said it would be
No,
all
it's just
all be MCU. But yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
expect a lot of X-Men type stuff
Well, that sucks.
in that thing.
It could suck. Yeah. It's going to be
But,
weird not having like, fucking Wolvie and Storm,
Yeah,
those guys have been there since the
they
beginning. man.
seem pragmatic enough to the point where they're not cutting off their nose to spite their face. They're not going to spend like I don't think they're doing like Civil War II now. I think in the comics or something like that. And,
I don't think
and
that was very well received.
I don't think I didn't hear great things about it.
No.
But, they seem like they know. I mean, they know enough to like Wolverine. You can't get rid of him, but it seems I don't know. I haven't
Yeah, that's
read
true.
comics seriously for like the last few years, but it's always interesting that for their business purposes, like the deal they did for Spider-Man and Civil War II
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. They seem like they know that Sony owns those rights and will own them for a long time, so they're going to help out to make sure that their overall brand is solid. But then they're not going to push that. They're not going to push Warren or whatever. But
If that Spider-Man movie comes out though and makes $1 billion versus the 250 or 300 million that they were making before, Fox is going to come calling, right?
Yeah, probably.
well, no, I think Sony is the one who owns.
Sony,
no.
Sony and Spider-Man.
Sony owns Spider-Man, but I'm saying if the Sony Spider-Man Marvel crossover
Oh.
thing comes out and makes bank,
Fox is
then
gonna
Fox
want-
is going to call Marvel and be like, "Hey guys,
Because we got
Yeah,
Wolverine over here.
it'd be cool in
Fantastic
Infinity
Four.
Gauntlet 2 having
Yeah.
Wolverine show up."
all the rights to that kind of stuff, but is so crazy. But I'm sure that Marvel can license out any character they want to a game like this, and I'm just curious which ones they. I'm actually really curious to see the lineup, like if their priorities are still definitely Avengers based.
Yeah,
but,
dude.
Just whatever
Those
movie's
movies make
hot.
$1
If you
billion.
take a look at the releases for Marvel Heroes, it was always surrounding, whatever, the movies at the time. Even like, bringing in Daredevil, like they had the skin for, the Netflix, series. They had a skin for that. So whatever was hot at the time, I guess. So that's why we saw a lot of like Guardians of the Galaxy.
The only place you're going to get mutants and X-Men fighting and Avengers fighting is probably Lego games.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
That's it.
Either way, I hope that game is still bonkers.
Yeah. That I think you can count on.
Yeah.
If nothing else. Let's see. Mike from Topeka, Kansas. Writing in with what he says is an interesting tidbit about Super Hot VR and exclusivity. While you can't buy the game on anything other than the Oculus store, it runs perfectly on Revive, which is how I beat the game. One of the reasons it runs so well on Revive is due to Valve's involvement, with one of the Steam VR patch notes specifically saying, quote, Fix for a crash with Superhot running via Revive.
Nice.
Any particular thoughts on this from the crew? Well, I think it's pretty cool. I'm also somewhat reminded of the ColecoVision adapter that allowed it to play Atari 2600 games.
Wow, that was a thing?
I guess that's
Oh, I mean, I had no idea about that.
first I've heard of it. But yeah, like it's kind of crazy that like straight up Valve is out there fixing bugs in a game that you can't buy on their platform.
There's so many like evangelists for VR over there. Like you talked about chat before, and the people who really are into Steam or really into VR. It feels like they are like broad platform. Like they just want VR to be a thing.
Yeah.
And it seems like Steam probably has the resources to go out and like let people do this kind of extracurricular stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, the challenge, one of the big problems with that, the Revive stuff, or
What is Revive though?
Revive lets you play Oculus API, Oculus Home games on a Vive using
Like
Steam VR.
Like not an emulator.
It's
not an
it's
emulator,
It's like
but
it's like an API wrapper, basically,
Okay.
is my understanding.
Yeah.
I haven't fucked with it at
But
all.
it's,
So
it's,
I-
third, it's third party, right? It's like
Yeah,
it's
it's-
made by
It's some guys that are, or some
Like-
people that are working. They've
like
been working on it
homebrew.
for ages. Yeah. And like the problem I have with a lot of that early stuff, the Steam VR side, where you're using the Rift with Vive games or the Vive with Rift games on Steam VR, is that the angle of attack on the controllers is different. So like there's only one way to hold the Oculus Touch controllers, but the Vive ones have a kind of like you hold it more like a sword than a gun.
And
I
Vive
guess.
Vive games don't have any controllers like gamepad support. I doubt.
They can. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason you can't do it. It's most people don't, because if you have
Yeah.
hands, it's much better than gamepad.
Sure.
And it's two completely different ways to interact with the, like, if you're building a gamepad game, it's a gamepad game. If you're building a hand game, it's a hand game, and like those mechanics kind of don't overlap very very well.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But I know Superhot, like we heard. I don't know. Jeff played it on UPF once, and it seemed really neat. But I don't think that was one of those games that kind of, I don't follow VR space very much, but I was like, oh, Superhot in VR, that could be neat. But then when it came out, it seemed like it just took everybody by storm.
Yeah.
Like,
You feel like Neo
Yeah.
in the Matrix, right? You're like, I can dodge bullets.
so that game is Oculus exclusive
Yes.
for the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I think they've said, hey, we'll
do it.
I think they're a small team.
Sure.
We're making one at a time.
Yeah.
And I understand. As somebody who's doing those two things simultaneously, that is a good idea. You should totally do it that way.
yeah. Order of priorities.
Yeah.
Paul writes in from Washington D.C. Got a handful of Switch questions are still trickling in here. With Microsoft and Sony going the Apple route with their consoles, offering slight hardware upgrades while maintaining software parity, would it be plausible for Nintendo to follow suit? Since there's no additional power in the dock, could Nintendo theoretically just sell a new tablet for people looking to upgrade with new internals while maintaining the accessories like the Joy-Cons?
That makes sense. I mean, the USB-C controller is going to be the thing for a fairly long time, it seems like.
Pretty future-proof.
I mean, depends on how they implemented it, right?
Yeah.
That's always how it is. But if it's like a Thunderbolt where you have, multiple resolutions out and all sorts of crazy shit like that, then there's no reason.
Yeah.
It couldn't just be like every few years you buy another $200 tablet.
Yeah.
And keep
I mean,
your $100 dock.
I was going to say, I have to assume most of the cost is in the tablet.
I mean,
but
I would think that until I look at how much all the accessories cost, and then I'm like, well, maybe not.
Yeah.
There's some crazy pricing, like the $70 for
some of those
Joy-Cons.
controllers
It's like,
are
wow.
$40, $50 each. What is it when you buy them
It was like $70 for two, which is not that crazy compared to like $60 for controllers.
But then you have to buy it doesn't come with the thing for the middle though.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's another $30. So you're looking at $100 for the two Joy-Cons and the, I don't know. It makes me like, that was one of the nice things about the Wii U, is that you just spend your $300 on the console and then, or $350, whatever it was, and you get all your old shit still works.
Yeah. Let's see. Scott writes in from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Hi, Scott.
I'll just summarize this, kind of a long email, but he's basically asking, like, we know that the Switch runs faster in the dock than it does handheld. He's basically asking, if you're using it on the road with that power adapter, like, what are the odds that it will also run at that higher speed mode in handheld mode, but plugged into a wall?
It depends on whether the higher speed is to make the resolution work or because it has power.
Right, because the tablet is 720, and they've already said, that most games will run higher than that on a TV. So maybe there's no reason for that to happen on a tablet.
I mean, my assumption is that it's the power that's the issue.
Yeah.
But if the resolution is the gate on what the extra power would be used for, then it probably doesn't. Probably won't matter.
You won't see a benefit.
I mean, it may be that connection's probably smart though, because it's the video out for the tablet. I don't know. That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll find out in a couple months.
Yeah, Yeah, obviously, just I'm sure Digital Foundry will be on the case.
Yeah.
Pixel counting and such.
Yeah, I wonder if there'll be like a non-dock, like just a thing you can plug in and get an HDMI dongle out of.
Yeah,
and-
they haven't said anything about that.
Yeah.
Like, I think you will be able to plug it into a wall, obviously, because you need to be able to charge the damn thing. But, yeah, they haven't said anything about mobile
I wonder if
video
your portable
output.
battery packs will work with it too, because Nintendo's traditionally been really shitty about that. Like you can buy a USB to 3DS adapter, but it only charges at the 500 milliamp minimum USB, which like won't keep it running if the battery's low.
Oh, that's not good. Jeremy from Arizona. I am possibly leaving the U.S. in August to teach English as a second language. I will most likely end up in South Korea or Japan. I was wondering what games you guys would bring to play on a laptop during your free time. I would like something that does not require too much of a time investment, so something a little more pick up and play. Also, it will have to run on a Mac, so the system requirements can't be too steep.
FTL.
FTL is a good one.
FTL is like
FTL is a great play for 30 minutes or however long your run lasts.
I've been so I just got a new laptop from IT, Will, and I've been looking up stuff. It's like a 520M, so it's not like a super high video card, but I've been looking at what I can play.
It's like Intel Extreme 9000 or something.
Like that. I loaded up XCOM, and that actually runs pretty well. I also loaded up Pillars of Eternity, like a game I never finished. But yeah, definitely there's a lot of stuff that you can like. I was thinking of Hotline Miami, which is a pretty good short. As long as you have mouse and keyboard, like you can do it. Playing actually stuff on a keypad, I don't know what actually runs on Macs anymore. So
Hotline Miami works really well with gamepad.
Does it?
Really? The thing I would say is it's pretty easy to set up a dual boot on that, and you can do it if you enroll yourself in the Windows Preview program. It doesn't cost you anything if you install Windows 10 on the dual boot, and then that opens up like the things that will work on integrated graphics and be good.
Yeah.
It's a real small list if you're on the Mac, and if you expand it to Windows shit that runs on integrated graphics in Windows, is basically every indie game that came out in the last 8 years.
It's Stardust,
and also stuff like XCOM and
Terraria.
Team Fortress, probably even Overwatch if you turn the settings down.
Yeah, WoW WoW has so many different settings you can turn that down all the way.
Yeah,
that was like a
Diablo.
running joke. I mentioned WoW too much, but Diablo 3 probably runs pretty well too.
But if
I'd assume.
So if you're worried about space on the Mac for the dual boot, what you can do is set up the C partition as really small, and then put your Steam folder on an external drive that you only plug in when you want to have games.
I don't think we mentioned in the news though. Steam's having a big update too, where you can start moving folders around through different Steam directories. And they had something else that they announced.
There's been ways to do that.
Been able to do that,
but now they're adding it in as like and there was something else.
Oh, just like right click a game and say move this to another drive.
Settings, something like that. But it's something that they're adding in. There's one other thing that sounded really interesting that they're adding to Steam, but I forget what it was. But yeah, Steam as a platform is adding some interesting new stuff. I think it was no, I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, Steam has a weird update coming up. Going to make it easier to manage game installations. And everything.
It's funny because like it's had logic to deal with that. Like if the game was available in one of the Steam folders and it wasn't installed according to Steam, and then you moved it to one of the other tried to install it in one of the, it would just copy it from the other hard drive.
Yeah, it would just find it.
The days of SteamMover.exe are kind of in the past for the most part. But like the answer to that is basically any 2D indie game that you want to try to install.
Yeah,
is probably going to run fine.
Well, FTL is a good one.
Terraria.
Darkest Dungeon is a good one.
Oh,
Terraria.
yeah, that game's great.
Oh, yeah.
Rogue Legacy.
Rogue Legacy, like
Spelunky.
any like run-based roguelike type indie game. A will run on a crappy laptop, and B is a good thing to just sit down and play for a few minutes, and then
you're not going to play Crisis or anything like that, but just know your limits. And
you might actually be able to play Crisis now.
I don't know, but I saw was it PC Gamer? Might have been, I think it was PC Gamer.
The top 10
Yeah,
still...
it was like the top 10 like most graphically demanding games on the market.
Still Crisis 1?
Crisis 1 is still on that list.
Yeah.
Is it a DX? It's a DX10 game, right?
Maybe. I think so. I think they hit 10 on that.
Because it was before. It was programmable. It was like the first real programmable shaders.
I think it was. I think it had DX10 support. Yeah.
Well, it's just like some games have one setting, like that Watch Dogs 2 fog setting that is just really, or Witcher 3 is like Hair FX1.
Yeah.
The point is like
FX.
they ran Crisis 1 at like 2560 by whatever. And it's still like at its worst, it was still like barely managing 30 frames.
I got to download that and see how that does on the 1080.
Going the opposite direction though, from like laptop stuff. The HP's putting out a 35-inch, 100 hertz G-Sync monitor, curved. It's like $1,300. But it comes out on February 1st. I really want to see some reviews.
So I kind of thought the G-Sync thing was bullshit until I needed to buy a 4K monitor, and I got it, and it's fucking amazing.
It's $200 more. There's something else called FreeSync now, which I guess is
that's
like
the
more
AMD
version. But the G-Sync stuff, it always sounded like I think I made fun of on Twitter, like, oh, marketing fucking bullshit. And now people who have that shit really
So-
seem to like it.
So I bought a 4K IPS panel that's only a 60 hertz G-Sync, not the
think I've
144 hertz.
Oh yeah.
And but I needed to do like video and color and stuff, so I needed good colors and not shitty TN panels. And it's even at 60 hertz, like my Overwatch game got better because I'm not having mouse lag between.
Yeah.
Like I became a more competitive player,
play-
which I would not have believed.
I play so much stuff on PC that it's almost like $1,300 is a shitload of money.
That is a
It's
lot of money.
Shitload of money for a monitor. But if the reviews are
that's
really
insane.
good, I might like pop a.
So I have a 34-inch ultra wide that's not a G-Sync or anything. It's not. It's one of the early ones.
Yeah.
I like the normal aspect ratio 4K better than the ultra wide.
Yeah, the problem with this one is like it's 3560 by 1440, so it's still 1440p.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of questions. I want to put up a forum thread for anybody who has these ultra wide stuff because I'm really curious because I can't run everything at 35 by 14.
That's the thing.
And do I run it like is it just like
It has black
part
bars on
and
the
black bar?
side.
Okay.
And a lot of games just don't support those aspect
Yeah,
ratios,
yeah.
which is annoying.
Yeah.
I would like it's neat. Having the more vertical height when you're using it for Windows is much more important.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it was
maybe.
maddening to have only the 1440.
I have a 4K monitor as my main. It's not a gaming thing. It's just a Samsung, but I just it's one of those things that I know I'll buy it and like I won't. I have a 970, so I can't run much. 1440 is usable in most games, but I can't run anything on 4K. So maybe I'll prioritize it.
Get a 1070 and then you'll be able to run 1070. Will run most stuff at that resolution. We'll think.
We'll see. But then it'd be looking like $2,000 for a PC gaming upgrade for just a monitor and video card. Like wow.
I might.
But you're going to use a monitor for five to
God.
10 years.
Hopefully.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've mentioned it numerous times, but my monitor is over a decade old.
You got the 2405, 2407.
2000. It's the 20-inch, not the 24.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Ours
yes,
started
but
to
yes,
flicker
it's
not
that-
too long ago.
Yeah.
But yes, I bought it in 2006 and it's still going strong.
Yeah, I used it before I bought that 34-inch ultra wide.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell to this guy going to Korea: get a 35-inch monitor and take that everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah,
If you
it's
wanna
perfect.
go.
That's
That's what
what
you
you
want
need.
to do.
Just strap
Let
it
them
to
know
your
you're
back.
legit.
HDMI out from your laptop, man.
And tell them you only play StarCraft 1.
Do it on the train.
Yeah, 640 by 480, baby.
All right. Burning question from Ryan in BRLA, which I'm going to guess means Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
That sounds right.
Is it okay to dip a flavor-dusted chip into a contrasting colored dip?
Yes.
Specifically, a cheese-flavored Dorito and a sour cream-based French onion dip. Do I have an ethical responsibility toward others to not leave a streak of flavor particles in the dip?
I just don't think it tastes good. I don't really care, but like if you're using dip, I think plain tortilla chips are the ideal way to go.
I would get, sure.
I mean, even like my
Well, not
girlfriend got,
tortilla chips.
I'm with you.
yeah, tortilla.
It's a potato chip situation.
Or, yeah,
sour
potato chip
cream
and-
dip. That's always
well,
never
okay,
tortilla
potato
chips.
Chips
Potato-
like breaking too.
Potato chip and dip, tortilla chip and salsa.
Yeah,
That's
or
or guacamole.
guacamole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I wouldn't
Refried
necessarily.
beans, maybe
Yeah, okay.
cheese.
I wouldn't like eat Doritos and salsa necessarily. Like Doritos.
You
enough.
should. You should.
Oh, okay.
Really,
It's
Doritos
amazing.
and salsa? That doesn't sound okay.
No, it is really, really.
Cool
I
good.
feel
Ranch,
like I feel like
your-
Doritos got it all right there contained in the chip. You don't necessarily need
Add to it.
Look, sour cream makes your cheesy Dorito even better. It's like having a sour cream and cheddar ruffle.
I can't stand sour cream.
It's like unlocks the.
Yeah, it's like there's a secret of food where if you add more kind of core flavors to the thing and get them to layer,
Get the
then
umami.
its shit tastes better.
Oh wow.
I used
Yeah.
to eat a lot of Skittles when I was in college, and I was really ramping up on the caffeine. Skittles and Parmesan flavored goldfish at the same time.
Oh,
Taste
no.
sensation that is so weird.
sounds
Oh,
revolting.
but
no.
good. It's really good to try it.
All right.
It's like I feel like alchemy, like as above, so below, or something like that with food, but with food.
So I am all for mixing flavors, but in a party setting like that, you don't want to dip your Dorito in.
Well, I'm talking about lonely gaming Quake 3 at 3 in the
That's
morning.
absolutely
That's
fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
experiment. Just fucking mix whatever the hell you want, but you don't want to mix that flavor for somebody else.
You ever taken 2 Oreos and
Yeah.
put some whipped cream, mash them together with the whipped cream and the filling, and like make a little Oreo sandwich?
Nope.
I can't say that. I
But
have.
I
Whipped cream
kinda
is like a
wanna try
very underrated
Pretty good.
condiment. Is whipped cream really a condiment, or is it more of a
Whipped cream is a
topping?
topping.
Yeah.
I have a thing that lets me make my own whipped cream, so you can put whatever you want in there.
Oh, wow.
And then shake. You've seen it.
Oh right.
Use it
Yes.
for pies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Put brandy in there. Get some brandied whipped cream.
I got my sous vide tank today. I think I
Nice.
bought like a 12-quart thing with a hole cut out
Kembro?
for the. I don't know what it was. It's something else, but we bought a Jewel for Christmas.
Oh,
and
nice. Those are awesome.
Getting some chicken on tonight.
You tried eggs?
We have tried the ramen eggs. We haven't tried scrambled eggs yet, which I hear are really amazing.
Scrambled eggs. You got to put a little olive oil in there.
It's like half an hour. You got to massage it every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of work, but
you can do the poached in shell eggs. Though.
Yeah.
which is the other thing you do, and you cook those at like 64 degrees for 45 minutes,
We're just
and
on
then
we're on a taste journey. It's been really the chicken especially just is fucking fantastic.
those ramen eggs are life changing. I
really
always we buy like when we go to the grocery store, we basically do 6 or 8 ramen eggs, and they just sit in the fridge, and you can warm them up whenever they're.
I have to ask, what is a ramen egg?
You know when you get fancy ramen,
Yeah.
and it has half an egg in there,
Sure.
and the
It's
yolk
jellied.
is all like
it's not
custardy.
hard boiled or soft boiled. It's like halfway between, and it's like
Well, the white's cooked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a jellied kind of sensation. For the yolk, it's kind of like jelly and not. It's hard to like a jelly type of consistency. It tastes amazing.
It's literally like custard.
yeah.
Okay.
Like
It's a lot of salt and pepper, it takes like 8 minutes to cook, and they're just
And we
fantastic.
we put them on top of salad sometimes. Put them in like smear, like you break them open and kind of smear them on an English muffin.
Okay.
Like the whole thing, like break it all down. It's fucking awesome.
That's really good.
Let's see. 2 more emails. Mackenzie from Raleigh, North Carolina.
So
What one thing are you guys most looking forward to this year when it comes to video games? Answer that question however you see fit, whether it's a particular game or some kind of trend or story.
What's some story-driven VR stuff?
It feels like we're in the middle of a whole, the console generation's kind of like hitting its. I mean, it's hit its stride a couple years ago for Xbox One and PS4, but I don't know what I'm looking forward to. Honestly, I just have such a huge backlog to go through. Like it's really tough to find the time to go home and sit down and not. I don't know. I haven't looked at the release level here, but I'm looking forward to. There's just so much stuff I got to go back and play. Just kind of like I don't have time for it. But.
Yeah, I know everybody's all Switch crazy right now, but I think I'm probably most curious to see how the Scorpio turns out.
That's a big
that's
weird
can
X
be like
factor.
towards the end of the year.
Yeah, that's at
correct?
the end of the year, so
Such
it's
a
going to be a
weird-
while. Well, I imagine at E3 they'll take the wraps off of it for real.
They seem super confident about it
Yeah,
last year. Like
yes.
the marketing there was like they definitely are positioning this as some kind of like game changing, huge thing. So.
Yeah, so I'm really curious to see what they do with that thing.
Yeah, me too. I think I might hop into VR at some point this year. This might be it. I still don't know which route I'm going to go.
Yeah.
But it might be the year. As far as games are concerned, man, some good fighting games coming out, man. Injustice 2, I'm super hyped for. Tekken 7 as well. Berserk is the Musu game. I'm a big fan of like Berserk. So that game's coming out like in a month or something.
Yeah.
All kinds of excited for that.
There was an older Berserk game, right? There was
They've been doing. I think they've been.
Yeah, there's one on Dreamcast, and then there was one on PS2, which was never ported over here. I don't think there's patches out there. If you
Have they made any
Fist
Fist of the North Star games since the original one?
Since the original. Yeah,
I remember the
yeah,
first one
there
like
was
NES was.
There was one kind of recently, actually, like a year or two ago.
I didn't know.
I'm like if you think about it, the Vive and the Oculus Touch were announced at GDC 2 years ago, and then E3 2 years ago. So that means anybody who's had like a traditional 2-year development cycle is just now starting to think about releasing games.
Okay, yeah.
If they assuming they weren't part of the pre-announcement programs.
Sure.
And I think we'll see some cool shit this year from those teams.
I want to see big, like high end VR stuff because so far the repeated criticism is a bunch of tech demos, blah blah blah. But I really want to see something that knocks my socks off.
Well, the stuff like Super Hot is kind of the sweet spot, I think.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's a relatively short thing, but it has some real production value behind it, and
nobody's going to spend $10 million on a VR game. This is not going to happen for a while.
I mean, Oculus might, but
That'd be
like an independent developer is not going to spend, and a big publisher is not going to spend $10 million.
Even
$10
$1
or $20
million seems like
yeah.
a stretch to. There was
It's hard to make a game for if you have 5 people for less than $1 million. But anyway,
has any VR game made $1 million yet? It seems like it's all. There was a story about the dude who spent we lost a huge amount of money. It was the best-selling VR game the month it came out. And we still lost like double our budget or something.
I think. Well, I mean, we're getting to a point now with PSVR, and I think Tim Sweeney said that there's 500,000 Vives out there or something, right? I think we're at a point now where you can like $1 million budget for a VR game is not reckless.
Okay.
But I mean, and that's only going to get better as more headsets get in the market.
Yeah. All right. Jim from Crown Point, Indiana, with our last email. Everyone enjoys talking smack about people who aren't around, so I asked you this. Now that he's no longer in the SF office, what annoyed you most about working day-to-day with Dan? What, if anything, will you miss most about having him in the office? Curious particularly for Jason's input.
Oh, jeez. I don't want to talk bad about that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a brotherly love-hate relationship with him.
A little sibling rivalry.
I assume you
Not
guys would just be
rivals.
Not rivalry.
roommates or
Not
something.
rivalry. don't know. I hate him as a person. No, I love him as a person.
Yes.
Do I? I don't know anymore.
It sounds very complicated.
I will say that like my stress levels have like alleviated.
Just your shoulders feel loose in a way they didn't before.
Yeah. I do miss him. Miss his enthusiasm at times.
The thing I miss the most is having him on this podcast.
Yeah.
Where's
his very unique way of looking at things was a constant surprise.
He is constantly a surprise.
I do miss that.
where's
the thing I don't mind saying this. The thing that annoyed me the most was his nervous leg thing.
Oh yeah,
the vibrating legs?
He would always put his feet up on the desk and then shake.
Oh, that's
and
not okay.
we have like rows of desks that are all connected, so you'd like your monitor would start going like this, up and down. I was like, where is that? Is there an earthquake?
Yeah,
You've been Reicherted.
But that's not a big deal.
yeah.
What where's the line between Dan Reichert, the human being, and Dan Reichert, the character? Is that something we want to talk about here?
I don't know that I'm at liberty to say.
Okay,
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know that all of us know.
I've spent some time with Dan, and I have I got no idea.
I'm sure Jason has some insight, but if you haven't known him for years, it's kind of hard to peg that, hard to pin that down.
Yeah, I'll let him.
Yeah.
Keep his persona.
Yeah, he was a fun, unique presence on this podcast, and I do miss that.
My day-to-day stuff has changed very little, just because I'm never at my desk.
Yeah.
I don't like the open office. I don't like those arcade machines. I don't like there are issues with sitting at a desk in that big open area with a lot of people who are not like necessarily part of our team. That I don't.
There's a lot of distraction and stuff.
Yeah, so I usually sit in the break room. I'm just starting to at this point. I'm starting to just like if I don't have a meeting, I'm just gonna work from home because I like working with others personally, but there's so much distraction. I like that little pod we had upstairs, and it was just like the 8 of us.
Yes.
And I don't. It's not so much noise stuff because if you guys are playing video games, I know you're working hard, but it's more like those arcade machines drive me fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And I just if I'm gonna come here and sit in the break room all day, I'm just gonna work.
People have gotten a lot better about it. They're not over there banging on those things all day like they used to be.
Working from home for the last year and change now, like I can't imagine sitting in a fucking big pit with you guys where there's people talking constantly.
Yeah.
It would make me like, and I just to be clear, I have a 3-year-old running around the house and a dog that barks, and my wife's there a lot, and still I can at least shut the door and know that.
Ironically, I think we are very quiet and reserved by the standards of this office. We are like actually super sedate.
Yeah,
but there's quite a few other people around in other departments that.
And I'm not talking shit about anybody.
No. It's just it's typical. It's just typical office chatter type stuff.
I need to get into a space where I can do. The problem is with my job is that I have like 6 or 7 different things I have to do every day, and like trying to figure out how to concentrate on one thing and stuff. And let alone when you're overhearing.
Yeah.
So
I'm a little envious of a work at home setup.
There's pros and cons.
I'm sure if you did it every day for months on end, you would get stir crazy. But like, I find myself like I start way earlier when we work at home. It's like I'm in front of the computer at like 7 a.m.
Like so for me, it's like avoiding commute is super dope.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it too.
Yeah, but like it's also nice to have human contact with people who aren't 3-4 years old or who I'm married to.
Sure.
So I have meetings and I go to sometimes like if I don't have stuff that I need a headset for, I just go work in a coffee shop or something some days.
Sure.
Just to not be in the same.
I have
chair.
dogs.
Yeah, a good mix seems ideal.
I have dogs, fortunately,
if you can do it.
Yeah, the dog situation since I moved with my girlfriend, like they're 2 dogs that really need attention. Not like in the worst. I've had dogs that would need to have a tennis ball thrown like every 20 seconds for like 8 hours straight. These dogs aren't like that. But then if I'm like I've been in the middle of WoW raids before, and the dog kept on coming up, and not now, Patas, and to the point where my girlfriend had to come get him and take him off. So the one dog, Patas, is in love with me. Like he just cannot. If I'm not in the room and he knows I'm around, he will just come and scratch at the door. Like it's one of those things where you have to balance that out. But I prefer that to office noise.
Like 2 or 3 days a week is a nice amount of time.
Yeah, I know it is.
Office,
I mean, we've been working from home on Mondays, and I think it's good for sanity stuff. But yeah, if I just, the thing is, if I don't have any meetings on a day and I come in and then I get frustrated or whatever, it just feels like I'm wasting a day. So it's nice to have the flexibility though. Like a lot of places my girlfriend works at a law firm and she feels guilty taking a sick day because that's how integral she is. Like I'm lucky enough that I can do everything. I got my laptop and all I did was like bookmarks. That's all I have to do. I don't have to reinstall everything now. Like you don't have to go. You remember going to 99.com and getting all your aim and everything else. Like now it's just like I just need to restore my bookmarks.
Try rebuilding a dev environment.
Yeah. Oh man, no. Yeah.
I've learned all sorts of shit in the last year. It's terrifying.
That's what happens when you start a business.
Supposedly.
Tough
Got to
stuff.
figure it all out yourself.
Something like that.
Yep. All right, that's it for emails. Bombcast@giantbomb.com, and that means that's it for the podcast.
I just want to make a quick program note. We restocked the store a couple weeks ago. We should have, if you've been trying to find stuff like mugs or anything like that, they should hopefully all be coming in by the end of the week.
Some new
How are we
merch.
doing on hoodies? I need a new hoodie.
I think we are restocked. I think we placed some restock orders for those. I need to double check on those and see. Which hoodie are you looking for? The zippered?
Yeah.
We're looking. I think we have some more merch stuff coming up. I know we're planning some stuff. I know Jeff always talks about the hockey jerseys. Those are really tough to source. We're trying to find a good place to get a hockey jersey from that is not going to be like you don't want to spend $40 on a hockey jersey like that. It's going to fucking fall apart.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
those are surprisingly expensive.
They
for
are
sure. Yeah.
like actually you
It's a
can't.
lot of sewing.
I think there's only one company that does the NHL license stuff, but we're still looking for that. That I think Fabosh did a hockey logo a while back. We're looking to, but there should be more stuff. If you like I said, if you found anything that was out of stock, it should hopefully be back in. By the end of the
Can we make suggestions?
Sure, yeah. That's what I always want.
All right. What I want is an apron, right?
Mhm.
But I
You
want
said
it to be a
apron, yeah.
Vinny apron. I just want it to be black right here, and then just have the V-neck right here.
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
A little chest
Little
hair
tuft.
popping out. Yep.
If you ever have any
And then
suggestions,
like a carpenter belt or something.
Tool belt.
Yeah.
All right.
Plunger on there,
Yeah.
maybe?
That would be great.
Yeah.
I could be Vinny.
we have some big ideas. Or the thing is, we don't want to get too far down the I don't know. We have
You
a
wanna
lot
make
of
stuff
ideas
that
for stuff.
sells?
Let's take a Valve-like approach and let the merch speak for
Yeah.
itself.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
we'll,
How about that?
But yeah, and are we gonna do a Resident Evil quick look? Is there one of those?
Yeah, they're working on that in New York.
Okay, good.
Dan reviewed that.
Yeah,
so
I think they're going to be dropping that today.
that should be up today. if
Fingers crossed. Yeah,
nothing-
I hate to jinx it.
Yeah.
I mean, anything could happen, but
but should be up
Cool,
very
that's the
very
plan.
shortly. Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Will. Always
course.
appreciated for you to come out.
If you're a Kickstarter backer, there should be a survey going out, hopefully later today if I did everything right.
All right, cool.
I feel confident.
Yeah. All right, keep your eyes peeled for that, and hopefully we'll be back to full strength next week. Everybody will be hearty and healthy.
hope
Hail.
so.
Hail Hardy, healthy.
We will see. Hopefully,
Avue Aqualarum.
yes. All right. Well, thanks for listening. That's been the Giant Bombcast. We'll see you again same time next week.
There it is. There it is. Up there. Okay.
Master shot.
This episode of this podcast was brought to you in part by Soylent. Each bottle of Soylent drink fulfills more than just 20% of your daily nutritional requirements, providing you with the freedom to choose how you want to spend your time. Soylent drink satisfies your stomach's hunger for immediate calories and your mind's hunger for long-term good nutrition. Go to Soylent.com and use the code BOMBCAST for 15% off. That's Soylent.com and the code BOMBCAST.